voice is rough today. Not sure what that's all about. Anyway, let me roll over to this side. Look, it's Mr. Tatsugiri. Mr. Tatsugiri is here today to teach you a lesson that you don't need to run any basic Pokemon in your deck. It's really not allowed. Or not necessarily not allowed. I would say it's up for debate whether it is necessary to run basic Pokemon or not. And I'll show you guys exactly what it's all about, because this Tatsugiri list is literally all about controlling your opponent into doing absolutely nothing. That's kind of the gist of this list. And I do want to add on to that by saying that there's no GX or V-Star attacks with this, so that's why the markers are not here for this time. This list is really stupid. I'll say that. I'll be very upfront with that. See if I can actually... That's better, I think. It's slightly better. I don't think it matters. Anyway, should we check out the deck lists? I think I really cooked here. You guys want to see it? Also, yeah, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night, wherever in the world you are. I hope you're having a fantastic day. I completely forgot to do my catchphrase. That's crazy. Anyway, Mr. Tatsugiri EX. Yes, I only own one, sadly. I am proxy gang. I don't care about using proxies at all. This here is a basic Terra Pokemon. With 160 HP, is a Dragon type, is a 2-price Pokemon, and it's a Terra, so as long as it's on the bench, it doesn't take any damage from attacks. Has 1 retreat cost, no weakness, no resistance at all. First attack surprise bump for fire and water, you do 100 shred. This doesn't really matter, it's all about that second attack. Cinnabar Lure. Look at the top 10 cards of your deck. You may put any number of Pokemon you find there onto your bench. Shuffle the other cards back into your deck. It says any number of Pokemon, not basic Pokemon. So you can cheat evolutions into play with Cinnabar Lure. And that's exactly the plan. How we're going to do that today. I'm going to show you right now, because it's actually pretty consistent. It is actually pretty consistent. I fucked up the deck order, I think. I did fuck it up a little bit. Let's fuck it up a little bit. Anyway, the card that's going to help us with this is Sparkling Crystal, our A-Spec. This is a tool that if we attach it to a Terra Pokemon, any attack it uses costs 1 energy less. 1 energy of any type less. That's going to really help to use that attack. Which means the attack will be only 1 fire, 1 water, or 1 fire, 1 dark, or 1 water, 1 dark energy. Darkness, sorry. Still, that's 2 different energies, and that's kind of difficult to get, isn't it? Well, it's not that difficult if you're aware of one of the most broken cards in this format, which is Double Dragon Energy. Yes, these are 4 real Double Dragon Energies. This is an investment. Double Dragon Energy is a special energy that can only be attached to Dragon Pokemon, and the card provides every type of energy, but only 2 energy at a time, but only, of course, while it's attached to a Dragon Pokemon. This card is attached to anything other than a Dragon Pokemon, it gets discarded instead. So, with 1 Double Dragon Energy attachment for turn, and the Sparkling Crystal attached to Tatsugiri, we can immediately use a Cinnabar Lure as early as turn 1 going second. Now you might say, okay, Noah, finding your A-Spec and a special energy out of your deck is pretty difficult. Like, how can we consistently potentially get this turn 1 going second? It's actually not that hard. And I'll show you exactly why with the supporter Guzma Hala Tag Team. This is a supporter card that reads, we can search our deck for a stadium, reveal it and put it into our hand, and then shuffle your deck. That's not really the relevant part. Why is this card so dirty? We will not allow this. So much dirt. The secondary effect is more interesting. When we play this card, we may discard 2 other cards from our hands. If we do, we may also search our deck for a Pokemon tool, Sparkling Crystal, and a special energy, like Double Dragon Energy, from our deck. In this way, that's pretty good. One supporter that grabs us every piece we need as long as we start with Tatsugiri. Let me tell you, Tatsugiri is the only basic Pokemon in this deck, so we always start it. So Guzma Hala is going to be our engine. As long as we find this supporter on turn 1 going second, we have a guaranteed, near guaranteed, Cinnabar lure attack. Really nice. Let me actually fix these proxies, because I see that I made them fairly sloppily. And I would love them to like not show as much as the basic energy as they normally do. Let's see, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4 copies. Guzma Hala. I do sadly only own 1 because this card is also kind of expensive. But once again, like, that's a supporter. We only have 4 of these in our deck. We can't play Tapu Lele if Tatsugiri is our only basic Pokemon. What else? Is there any other way that we can find this supporter specifically? There are several ways to do it. But you can go for the Battle Compressor via Secret routes, which I did not do. I went for this route, which is much more cool and funny. Because Guzma Hala is a tag team card, we are also playing 4 copies of Tag Call. Tag Call, once again, I only own 1. Don't come for me, please. The proxy police will come for me eventually, one day. But that day is not today. Anyway, for Tag Call. What does Tag Call do? Tag Call is an item that says that we can search our deck for up to 2 tag team cards, reveal them, and put them into our hands. Hey, look! Guzma Hala is a tag team card. So we can go grab 2 of them even, if we want to. So we can use one of them to play the card, and we can use the other one as discard fodder for the secondary effect. That's pretty good. So now we have 8 outs to Guzma Hala on turn 1. It's looking a little better. But even then, we also run, of course, 4 copies of Trainers Mail to get even more outs. Let me explain. Trainers Mail is an item card that lets us look at the top 4 cards of our deck, and then we can reveal any trainer card we find there except for Trainers Mail. And then we shuffle the other 3 cards back into the deck while we add the revealed card to our hand. So this, if we don't find Tag Call or Guzma Hala on our first turn, but we do have a Trainers Mail in hand, we can use Trainers Mail to look at the top 4 cards of our deck and potentially grab a Tag Call or a Guzma Hala from there. To give us even more outs to getting this on turn 1. Now, do I have anything else to continue this chain? The answer is no. No, I don't have anything else to continue this chain, unfortunately. But that's 12 outs to this specific combo in a deck of 60. You can count your odds. I'm not exactly sure how likely that is, but it's pretty likely. So we can go grab turn 1, grab Double Dragon Energy and a Sparkling Crystal, and use Cinnabar Lure to fire off some Pokemon. But Guzma Hala also allows us to search our deck for a Stadium. That's the base level of the card. Now, there's not really a specific Stadium that helps with our strategy specifically, so since this is a control deck, I went to go for a more disruptive option. This is really anyone's game at this point. You can go for Temple of Sinnoh if you want. You can go for Chaotic Swell if you want. Or you can go for like Wanderer's Labyrinth, or I don't know. I chose to go for 2 copies of Path to the Peak, just because I think Path to the Peak helps us in lots of matchups that are normally kind of scary for us. Path to the Peak helps us stabilize against like a turn 2 from a Lugia or a Regidrago. Specifically, those 2 actually. If they don't have a Wally turn 1, they can pop off turn 2, but not if we play the Path to the Peak. And they can't do Wally on turn 1 if we are the ones to go second. That's kind of the idea behind Path to the Peak here. But like I said, you can choose Silent Lab or Chaotic Swell as well. Those are also fine cards. I think Silent Lab is actually a pretty solid card for this deck, because you can turn off things like Wobbuffet. And Wobbuffet's actually a really relevant counter. So you can consider Silent Lab. I just go for 2 path to the peak. You can go like 1 path, 1 Silent Lab, 2 Silent Lab maybe. But there's only 2 stadiums in this list specifically. Just so that you guys are aware. I guess now is maybe the time also to show the other tools that we can grab. Like, in case we want to play a second Guzma Hala throughout the game, there are other tools that we can grab during the game. We got 1 copy of Float Stone, of course, an expanded classic. The Pokemon that this card is attached to has no retreat cost. Really, really good, especially for some of the big beefy Pokemon we have in this deck that have lots of retreat cost. And we also have 1 copy of Stealthy Hood. Stealthy Hood allows the bearer of this tool to ignore effects of our opponent's abilities done to the Pokemon or is attached to. Jesus Christ, this one's even worse than all the other ones. I don't know why they get so dirty, these sleeves. Maybe it's because I've been using them for a long time. I've been using them pretty much for like half a year for all the expanded videos, but it's only for the expanded videos. It's not for anything else. See if I can move things over a little bit so I can make it a bit more clear what cards we're dealing with here. I think this is pretty clear so far, right? I don't think I have any names obscured. That's like the most important part. Anyway, enough talking about the combo that we can do on turn 1 going second. We probably want to see what cards, what Pokemon we can cheat into play with Cinnabar Lure, don't we? Well, let's get going. These are either like Pokemon that will help us set up our hand more, or Pokemon that will disrupt our opponents. To set up our hand / board state is what I should say. Why are these cards so dirty as well? I do not understand. I should have done this before stream. I am so sorry. This one is bad. Few smudges. This one also isn't that bad. Actually, no, it is bad. Never mind. Please hold. Suspense is killing you. I know it is. Have you guessed it already? Which Pokemon we're pulling out here? It's Vileplume. It's irritating Vileplume, the bane of everyone's existence. In case you're unfamiliar with this card, hello, this is Vileplume from Ancient Origins. It's a stage 2 Pokemon that has 130 HP and has the ability Irritating Pollen, which says that each player can't play any item cards from his or her hand. This item locks. Not even, it doesn't have to be inactive or whatever, it just has to be in play, but it also item locks us, the player. But that's fine. It's what I can reveal from now, is there's not a lot of items in this deck. You see here 4 Tag Call and 4 Trainers Mail. Those are the only items in this deck. And like I said, these items are mostly for setting up our combo. Once we've set up our combo and put a Vileplume in play, we don't really need these cards anymore, aside from maybe finning. Like they can still be nice for finning down, but they're not like mandatory for our strategy anymore. So it's fine if we can't play those. They can become discard fodder for Guzma Hala or other cards that we need play that have a discarding cost. So yeah, Vileplume, absolute goat, useless attack, but it is what it is. Dude, 70 for 3 energy is so bad. I mean, I know it's an X and Y era card, but still. It's like absolutely terrible. Let's see, this next card is also very... These next few cards are also incredibly dirty. Especially on the bottom. Anyway, next card. We got 3 copies of Gallade here. Gallade is a stage 2 psychic type Pokemon with 160 HP. And has the ability Buddy Catch. Once during our turn, we may search our deck for a supporter card, reveal it, and put it into our hands, and shuffle our deck. Well, that's excellent for this deck specifically, because since we're item locking both players, we are mostly going to rely on supporters to advance our game state of denying our opponents anything whatsoever. kind of the game plan. We're trying to take away as much from our opponent as possible, as much from their freedom of play as possible, without using items. So Gallade is an integral part to this deck, and if we don't get one set up, the game often feels very clunky and luck-based. So that's why Gallade is here. There are probably other cards that can do the same thing, but I wanted to use Gallade because this is a Psychic-type Pokemon. And the nice thing about Psychic-type Pokemon is that they don't lose their ability when Boba Fett comes into play. Like, if there's a Garbodor with a tool, yeah, we're cooked. But that's like the only thing. Unfortunately, Garbodor is kind of a hard counter to this list, I think. Not entirely sure. But that, it is what it is. Garbodor is Garbodor. I don't think we run any tool removal, actually. Let me think about that. No, I don't think we do run any tool removal. Well, okay, we run one card. We run one recyclable card for tool room. So it's not the end of the world. It's a playable matchup for sure. Anyway, next Pokemon that we can get off the Tatsugiri attack. It is the one and only Plasma Storm Magnezone. Classic, a control classic. If you're unfamiliar with this card, this is a stage 2 Pokemon with 140 HP, is a lightning type Pokemon, and has the ability Dual Brains. During your turn, you may play 2 supporter cards. Like I said, we use supporter cards mostly to advance our game state, to advance our board, and to disrupt and deny our opponent resources. So what if we could play 2 in one turn rather than 1? Seems pretty aight if you ask me. I don't think I need to explain much more about this card other than that, once again, the attack can be useful because it's you do 80 damage and then boss something up and then switch yourself out. So it's not the worst attack in the world. It's of course kind of hard to pull off because we have because it costs 2 lightning and 1 colorless. But we have means of attacking with the deck. I guess I can show you that right now, by the way. No, I'll show you later. It's reversal, but I'll show you later. There's an order to this that I need to adhere to, otherwise all the structure of the entire video is gone. Not of the video, of the live stream, I mean. Let's see, these next few cards are also a little bit dirty, so please do hold whilst I go ahead and give them a little bit of a fixer-upper. Alright, that's one. This one isn't too bad. I really should just use newer sleeves for these, because these sleeves are like near the end of their lifetime. Anyway, next Pokemon, we have 2 copies of Stoutland from Boundaries Crossed, an even older card. Stoutland is once again a stage 2 Pokemon. It's colorless type, has 140 HP, and has the ability Sentinel. As long as this Pokemon is your active Pokemon, your opponent can't play any supporter cards from his or her hand. We said supporter cards advance our game state, but it helps us even more so if our opponent has less gas in the tank by not being able to play their supporters. The downside of this one specifically is that you do have to have it in the active spot. So that kind of sucks. But all the other abilities function without being in active spot. So that's awesome. Stoutland is just a Pokemon that we have to push quite often. If we need to. And yeah, that's basically what it comes down to. Next Pokemon. Let's see if you are dirty or not. No, you're actually kind of fine. You're a little misaligned in the sleeve. But that's okay. This is like my perfectionism / OCD shining through. Holy moly. You don't really see it anywhere else in any of my other content, but you do see it here. It's kind of nuts. Hello Strategic, hello. Hope you're doing well. How's your day been? Next Pokemon. We run 2 copies of Alolan Muk. This is not a stage 2 Pokemon. Stage 1 Pokemon. 120 HP, Psychic type, and the ability Power of Alchemy. It says that each basic Pokemon in play, in each player's hand, and in each player's discard pile has no abilities. So this is the main reason why I don't run Silent Lab, is because I tacked in Alolan Muk as an extra Pokemon to hit off of Tatsugiri. Like I said earlier, you can consider Silent Lab as a replacement or pseudo-replacement of Path to the Peak. But I like to include Alolan Muk this way, because Alolan Muk basically says the same thing as Path to the Peak. Or as Silent Lab, and Silent Lab can be bumped as a stadium, whereas Alolan Muk can't even be disabled by Wobbuffet. It can be disabled by the likes of Klefki or Fluttermane, but once again, Fluttermane requires Gusting, or not Klefki, sorry, Garbodor and Fluttermane. For Fluttermane, it requires Gusting. For Garbodor, we have Answers. This is a really nice floodgate to stop basic Pokemon from having abilities. This doesn't stop stuff like Regidrago or Lugia V-Star, but that's why we have the Path to the Peak. Is this Exodialis or this Tatsu Fishy X? This is Tatsu. This is Tatsugiri control. And you're good, you're good. Reading the stream title helps, but this is not Exodia anymore, no. But I was inspired by last week by how efficient Tatsugiri was at getting certain Pokemon in play, that I was like, what if we make a control deck based off of this? This is entirely an offspring from like last week's deck. That was, let's be honest, the Anthea and Concordia list with the Ents package was absolutely horrendously bad. But I did find it funny that we actually came kind of close to making it work sometimes, which gave me the idea that Tatsugiri might actually be pretty good. So I looked at some Tatsugiri lists, and they did kind of okay at IHE leagues recently. So I kind of tweaked some numbers to get my own 60 that I like to play with. And yeah, we're here now. 7 in a row. Jesus Christ. Stream streak is hella back. Alright. Next Pokemon. We got 2 copies of Dusknoir. Once again, these cards are hella misaligned. As you can see, these are proxies. These are just printed out on A4 paper with the Limitless proxy printer cut out and then shoved into a sleeve in front of a basic energy. You can see it from the from the silver borders that we have around the yellow cards. My bad, sorry for the cough. So Duskboy for Lugia. Yeah, it's not just for Lugia, it's for a lot of things. It also helps a lot in Regidrago. It also helps a lot in Iron Thorns. Dusknoir. By the way, I just want to say Iron Thorns is like a hella free matchup. With this list, Iron Thorns is such a free matchup, it's not even funny. Anyway, Dusknoir is a stage 2 Psychic-type Pokemon with 150 HP. Has the ability Spectral Breach. All special energy attached to Pokemon, both yours and your opponents, provide colorless energy and have no other effect. So, one important thing to say about Dusknoir, it says that special energy attached to Pokemon have no effect and provide colorless. So it still means that we can't attach Double Dragon energy to any of our Pokemon, even if there's Dusknoir in play. We can only attach the Double Dragon energy to Tatsugiri. But as soon as that is attached, it becomes a colorless energy. So if we can move it off the Tatsugiri somehow, whilst Dusknoir is in play, that's an option. But we can't attach any Double Dragon energy to any of our other Pokemon, even though it loses its effect once it's attached. But the card text says that we can specifically only attach it to Dragon-type Pokemon. Rose playing Stoutland, pick up Lillipup. Is that you? Where's your memory energy? Yeah, we're playing no Lillipup. The only basics in this deck are 3 copies of Tatsugiri EX, and that is it. It is kind of Mulligan City, unfortunately, but it is what it is. You know, no memory energy needed. Alright, next Pokemon. We're starting to get into the more techier Pokemon. But let me just tell you one thing. Because we're running Sparkling Crystal, we couldn't run Megaton Blower, so that's the reason I included Dusknoir. Dusknoir fixes so many matchups, it's crazy. Like, the only matchup it doesn't really fix is like Shadow Rider Calyrex and Gardevoir Mill. But those are like among the very few decks that don't play special energy. Like, yes, there's also several GX that run some special energy, but mostly basics. But Dusknoir doesn't really do much in that matchup, but we have other tools for that. We have another Vileplume. Look, it's Vileplume again, but it's not the same one. This one is from Burning Shadows. So Vileplume is once again a stage 2 Pokemon. This one is 140 HP. And the ability Disgusting Pollen. As long as this Pokemon is your active Pokemon, your opponent's basic Pokemon can't attack. Once again, the attack of this Pokemon is fairly useless. But this is like an alternative active sitter to Stoutland in case we're facing, for example, Iron Thorn CX. If we promote Vileplume against Iron Thorn CX, they have to find their Guzma. Otherwise, they're just hooked. But bro's got to be playing POKÉ-COMM. Disgusting. No, we don't play Pokemon. Pokemon Communication. We only run 4 Tag Call and 4 Trainers Mail because we're playing Vileplume, remember? We can't play items after we bench the Vileplume. So the only items that I play are the items for setting up the Tatsugiri in the first place, so for hitting the combo on Tatsugiri more efficiently. So we're actually not running stuff like Pokemon Communication. You definitely can consider running Pokemon Communication, but it's more of a luxury, if you know what I mean. Pokemon Communication is a really nice card to have if you have the deck space for it. And to be fair, I genuinely could not find the deck space for it. This is a fairly tight list in my opinion. Like sure, you could consider, for example, cutting a Gallade to get another Dusknoir, or not using this Vileplume at all to make the Iron Thorn GX match up a little bit more difficult. But I feel like there's very little wiggle room in this list, if you know what I mean. I would much rather run 4 counts of the Vileplume and the Gallade and the Magnezone, but I just literally can't. Don't you want to increase the odds of getting into the Pokemon you want? Yeah, and we do that by increasing the counts of the Pokemon rather than running Pokemon Communication. Because Pokemon Communication, while it's in the deck, it's not a Pokemon. So if we find Pokemon Communication off of a Cinnabar lore, we don't actually get a Pokemon to bench from there. But if we add extra Pokemon, so we have more odds of hitting the Pokemon, then we do hit them. That's kind of the philosophy behind that. Pokemon Communication, like I said, it's definitely a 61st card in this list. It's a 61st card in this list, for sure. Or I guess maybe you could consider cutting it for the next card in this list. The next card that I'm about to show, because this is more or less to get a Vileplume in play more often. We run 1 copy of Gloom, just to get Vileplume in play more often than we want. So we have 5 outs to Vileplume instead of 4. Sorry, 4 outs to this specific Vileplume instead of 3, and 2 outs to this Vileplume instead of 1, because it is just so important for most matchups, especially the Irritating Pollen one. So this Gloom is a stage 1 Pokemon, evolves into Vileplume, has 80 HP. The ability doesn't matter because it's... Actually, the ability does matter because it's not an on-play ability. It does say, once during your turn, before your attack, if your opponent's bench isn't full, you may flip a coin, and if you flip heads, your opponent reveals their hand, and we put a basic Pokemon we find there to the bench. So it's kind of like Captivating Pokepuff in that sense, but on a coin flip, and we can only bench 1. But that's fine. I'm just choosing this Gloom because it's the best Gloom. And Gloom... I'm using it because it's a Gloom, and it can evolve into Vileplume. And not necessarily for the ability. The ability is a very nice bonus, but it's not necessary whatsoever for the 61st card in this list, but due to in-game rules, you can't have a 61 card deck. Yeah, exactly. Pokemon Communication was in the deck builder for a little bit, but I felt like I wasn't seeing it enough where it was actually making a difference in the list compared to running more Pokemon. That's the main reason behind it. We're not done showing Pokemon yet, because we do have some sort of backup for Tatsugiri. If we don't get all the Pokemon we want immediately, we have a backup. And I'll tell you immediately what I mean by that. Because the thing is, if one of our Tatsus dies with Sparkling Crystal on it, we have no way of recovering that Sparkling Crystal in this list. So we do have to find another way to actually get these into play. These other Pokemon. If we want to get them in play. If we don't have like enough what we found. Well, let me just... Here we go. We run Gladion or something in case you prize Crystal. Yeah, there's Gladion and Peonia in this list. They'll come up later. You would delay, but it, like in the same breath, if you prize Crystal, a better line you could be doing is if you have Tag Call in hand to just search for 2 Guzma Hala, and then play 1 Guzma Hala for 1 Double Dragon Energy and attach that, and then the next turn play Guzma Hala again for the 2nd Double Dragon Energy and also attach that. That's probably better than to find your one of Gladion or Peonia, which is another out to it, but Tag Call just kind of fixes that for you in that sense. You're going to copy and paste the list into live because hopefully soon I can actually play the cards. Sorry, I won't stall any further. Orbeetle is a 4-off in this list. Yes, can you believe it? This motherfucker. Orbeetle is a stage 2 Psychic type Pokemon with 110 HP. Absolute garbage. But the first attack, this time the attack actually matters. Read it. Evomancy. For each energy attached to this Pokemon, search your deck for a stage 2 Pokemon, except Orbeetle, and put it onto your bench. Then shuffle your deck. Orbeetle is like the backup Tatsugiri. This is like budget Tatsugiri kind of. Ideally, we want to get at least 1 Orbeetle in play in any given matchup. But if we find like 1 Vileplume, 1 Gallade, 1 Magnezone, 1 Stoutland, and 1 Dusknoir, we're probably pretty happy, dependent on the matchup. So at that point, we don't need Orbeetle. But if we miss any of those pieces, we can always get Orbeetle. And then use 1 copy of Reversal Energy when our Tatsugiri gets knocked out to get more than 1 stage 2 Pokemon, potentially. One footnote about this, unfortunately, is that Dusknoir does turn off Reversal Energy, in the sense that it doesn't give you the option to go for 3 stage 2s. You can still attach it to the Orbeetle and search your deck for 1 stage 2 to bench. It's better than nothing. But Dusknoir does make the Reversal Energy just a colorless energy. That's something I wanted to have set, just so that you guys are aware. So that's a little bit of anti-synergy in the list, but Dusknoir is like too good, and Reversal works too well with Orbeetle to not play both of them. Unless there's somehow like another card that can deal very efficiently with special energy, that we don't need Dusknoir anymore. But I doubt that's the case. Like, we're not gonna run 4 copies of Enhanced Hammer. If there's an ability that says like you can't attach special energy, something like that, then that's maybe worth considering, and then we can change this into a basic energy. But yeah, I don't know, man. I do not know. Anyway, this is all the Pokemon in the list. And we've talked about a few supporters already, like our setup supporters. I'm gonna now talk about the rest of the supporters, because the rest of the deck, this is the rest of the deck, and this is all supporters. This is all of the other supporters. Like we said, supporters are the way that we advance our game state, deny our opponent resources. So let's go talk about them. There's a lot of one-up supporters in this list, but I'll first talk about the supporters that are mandatory 2-offs. Yes, this deck does not run Versus Seeker, in case you're aware. Jesus. That's 1 persistent cough. I hope I don't get sick. Anyway, 2 copies of Team Rocket's Handiwork. My goats don't own this card, as you can see. I don't own a lot of these cards in the middle row. I think in the middle row, there's like 2 real cards, and it's a Reversal Energy and 1 Gallade, and that's it. Anyway, Team Rocket's Handiwork is a supporter that says flip 2 coins. For each heads, discard 2 cards from the top of our opponent's deck. This is like our main win con. We ideally want to be decking them out to a point where they don't have any cards in their deck anymore. Because we can stall infinitely, but some decks just have way too many resources that we can't outstall them, so we do sometimes aggressively mill. That's what Team Rocket's Handiworks are for. We also run 2 copies of... Hello, can we cooperate? Yeah, no, this card is very dirty. I'm gonna leave you guys in a little bit of suspense. But you guys, y'all can guess what support. How about you try and guess what supporters are in this list? Like I already named a few, of course, but try and guess what supporters are in this list. So I think you guys would probably be wrong about what supporters are in this list. Gladion, yeah, okay. Gladion and Peonia, you guys know. But what other supporters? What other supporters do you guys think? I'm very curious to hear. I mean, I guess I'll show an obvious one. We run 2 copies of Lusamine. Xerosic. So we don't run Xerosic actually in this list. It's a nifty idea, but we don't run it. That's crazy, right? There's no space for Xerosic. We have 2 copies of Lusamine. Lusamine, of course, recovers up to 2 in any combination of supporters and stadium cards from our discard pile into our hand. So we technically, if we play a Lusamine, we can always recover the second Lusamine and then something else. So this means we technically have infinite supporters, but also infinite path to the peaks if we so desire. I think that the latter part is very backbreaking for some of the lists that you're up against. Hooligans, Jim and Cass, or whatever it's called, or you. No, they're also not on the list. Those are very spicy cards, but they are not in the list. Unfortunately. Hooligans, Jim and Cass would be very funny inclusion, actually. I do like that. I might actually add that to like a revised version of this list, because that card is very awesome, and I like it. Anyway, next, Hiker is also not in this list. They're naming a lot of great supporters that are like just not in. This is kind of like the main takeaway I wanted to give. This section of the deck profile is very tweakable to your personal liking. If you'd like to play with certain other disruptive supporters, go ahead. I feel like these 4 and these 2 here are very mandatory, but other than that, the other supporters are very tweakable for your own playstyle. And that's what I recommend doing. Please go try out Hiker, go try out you, or Xerosic, or Hooligans, Jim and Cass, because those are all not on the lists. The latter 2 you named are in the list. And I'll explain specifically why I chose the supporters that I chose. So don't worry about that. Anyway, 2 copies of Cynthia and Caitlin. The reason I chose for 2 copies of this card specifically is because we run 4 Tag Call. Tag Call can search our deck for 2 tag team cards. And Cynthia and Caitlin is a tag team card. I was also considering running a Belelba and Bryson Man, but I figured Team Rocket's Handiwork we already have 2 copies of, and Belelba and Bryson Man is really disruptive. If like the Belelba and Bryson Man is better for bench disruption, but we don't want to disrupt our bench is the problem. Copy and pasted the list. I could just fucking look with my eyes. Yeah, you could. Anyway, Cynthia and Caitlin is a supporter that reads that we can put a supporter card from a discard pile into our hand, except for Cynthia and Caitlin, or a card we discard with the secondary effect of this card. The secondary effect of this card is that we play this card, we may discard another card, and if we do that, we draw 3 cards from our deck. Oh, bro's just gonna cheat. Bro's just gonna cheat. I see what it is. So this will alleviate the pressure on our Lusamines to always recover a Lusamine. We can always use Cynthia and Caitlin to recover a Lusamine. Or we can use Lusamine to recover a Cynthia and Caitlin. This also helps us draw a few more cards if we need to, discard some awkward cards out of our hands. Like, for example, Tag Call in mid-game, we don't need that. We can use Cynthia and Caitlin to discard that. Especially the items, because we can't even play them with Vileplume. So Finning is winning. Next up is indeed Mr. Faba. Faba the GOAT. I do want to say, I feel like Faba should be like a one-off in almost every list in Expanded, if you want to take it seriously. If you just want to build meme decks, you don't have to, of course. But I feel like Faba should be in like 95% as a one-off. 95% of builds in Expanded periods. Faba chooses a Pokemon tool or special energy attached to one of your opponent's Pokemon, or any stadium card in play, and puts it in the lost zone. As you can see, this is Tool Hate, Special Energy Hate, and Stadium Hate, which is like 70% of the format. 70% of the broken stuff in format. Faba backwards is ABAF. What does that stand for? Ultra Necrozma just dies. Yeah. Ultra Necrozma is just perished. And it puts it in a loss zone, by the way, not even a discard. It's crazy. It means nothing but funny. Okay. Okay, okay, that's a little silly, but I do like that. That was, I don't know why that made me laugh, but anyway. Next supporter, we have run 1 copy of Gladion. Gladion is our main way of prize interaction. We can switch Gladion with any of the prize cards that we have. We can even look at the prize cards we have. But the thing is, Gladion has to go to the prizes when it's played. And since this deck specifically does not intend to get prizes, Gladion especially becomes really, really powerful. In combination with the next card that we're going to talk about, Peonia, which is a little bit dirty, so please give me a second. Peonia puts up to 3 prize cards into our hand, and then for each prize card we put in our hand, we can put a card from our hand face down as a new prize card. So Peonia can allow us to get a 50% chance of getting Gladion back into our hand, or just getting other cool prizes into our hand. And then prizing the things like Tag Calls or Trainers Mail or extra Tatsugiri we don't need anymore back into the prizes. Like we said, we're not planning on taking prizes, so prize interaction is king. These 2 cards are the main way to do it. I still feel like most of this is mandatory. Most of the supporters that I put down here, we're starting to get into the territory of just good supporters that I chose to include. But that you can definitely consider swapping out for other things. I think I've mostly put them in order of importance. Is that true? That's not entirely true. Yeah, no, that is true, actually, yeah. You've blinked out all the trainers you can TCG Live for this deck now. You can't add black-white XY cards to the deck to blink in yet, yeah. There's not too many XY or black-white cards, right? There's like the Team Rocket's Handiwork. There's Trainers Mail. Oh, there's also Vileplume and Magnezone and Stoutland. Yeah, okay. There's quite a lot, actually. Never mind. Oopsie. Man. Like when XY era cards were so disruptive. Anyway, next cards. Teammates! We can only play Teammates if one of our Pokemon was knocked out during our opponent's last turn. But if that happens and we play this, we get to search our deck for 2 cards and put them into our hand. That's like a double quick search. It's really good! It's kind of situational though, because... And this is an actual Teammates. Look, this one came in the mail last week. Actual Teammates. Card cost me 12 fucking euros. It's so expensive, but I got it. It's 1 copy, because 1 copy is all I need, basically. I don't need more than 1, in my opinion. Anyway, next cards. Are we ready for the next supporter that I'm gonna discuss? You got Shiny Tatsugiri EX. Ooh, sick. In TCG Live, you mean, or in real life? I only own 1 Tatsugiri, and it's the normal boring one. I felt the emphasis on 12 fucking euros in TCG Live. Okay, yeah, yeah. If y'all can guess, by the way, what the most expensive card is here, I will answer. Don't worry. The most expensive card that I own specifically, I should say. So like, it's probably Magnezone if I had to guess. Either Magnezone or like Vileplume. That's the most expensive, I think. But I don't have those. Those are proxies. Anyway, next card is Team Flare Grunt. Team Flare Grunt. Team Flare Grunt. Legend CA on top. Anyway, Team Flare Grunt discards an energy attached to our opponent's active Pokemon. Pretty good. Actually, yeah, this is like not that mandatory actually, but I like this card. It helps us in quite a few matchups, mostly Iron Thorns and Regidrago, but Team Flare Grunt is just super nice. You can discard basic energy as well, so that's basic energy is something we haven't really taxed for, but yeah, that's nice. Isn't Double Dragon Energy expensive? It goes for like 8 Great British Pounds a card. Yeah, so the Double Dragon Energies were about, I want to say, 10 euros a piece. They're expensive, but they're not... Like, Teammates is more expensive. But Double Dragon Energy is a little bit on the higher side. But I think it's also because Double Dragon Energy has been printed twice. Isn't that true? I think that's the main reason why it's less expensive, because it has been printed twice. I'm not entirely sure on that claim, by the way, but don't ruin Legend CA for me, I haven't finished it yet. I just said Team Flare Grunt because it's a Kalos game, and Team Flare is from Kalos. Chill out, okay? We all know Mabel is in the game. Mabel is an old member of Team Flare. That's nothing new. X and Y is like fucking 13 years old at this point. I feel old saying that, holy shit. I just said Team Flare Grunt because they're from Kalos, and ZA is Kalos. Anyway, actually, yeah, Team Flare Grunt is actually probably less mandatory than discard. I wouldn't say mandatory, it's less good than discard in the list that I'm about to show you, but I like it because it's more versatile, or not more versatile, it's less versatile but more efficient than the card I'm going to show you now that I do think is more important for this deck. It's Plumeria, indeed. Plumeria does the exact same thing, but we have to discard 2 cards from our hand. So why do we care? Well, we care because we can discard an energy from any one of our opponent's Pokemon. It doesn't have to be the active Pokemon. So this way we can actually counter specific bench upgrading shenanigans with Raihan. Potentially, maybe. So if we have like a Dusknoir in play, Regidrago can still do stuff if they go for like Raihan strats, if we grab a knockout with like a Magnezone attack. That's like a very big tentative maybe, let's be real. But we can prevent all that if we just always discard the extra grass energy or fire energy they attach on bench Regidrago with Plumeria. Like, discarding 2 cards from your hand is pretty painful. Especially especially in other lists, not necessarily in this one specifically, because we tend to have a lot of weird stuff in our hand that we don't want. Like just an extra Pokemon, or an extra Tag Call or Trainers Mail that we can't play. So usually we have pretty good discard fodder, but usually our hand size is not that big if we use Plumeria often. So a lot of turns are probably going to look like Cynthia and Caitlin for Plumeria, play Plumeria, and then do that again, or like Lusamine for Cynthia, Caitlin, and Plumeria. My bad. Man, my throat's killing me. This deck overview is 50 minutes long. Well, it's control. I have to explain the interactions, okay? It's control. Control always takes a little bit longer. There's only 2 cards left. The next one is N. This is personal preference. I prefer N. Some people prefer Iono. I like N. N makes both opponents. Both players shuffle their hands into their decks and then draw cards equal to prize cards they have remaining. This is like the only form of hand disruption you'll probably need. You can consider Ace Trainer, but that's once again more tied to you being behind on prizes. Ace Trainer is a more powerful hand disruption, but N is more flexible in the sense that we can always play this even if it were 6-6 tied in prizes. We can't do that with Ace Trainer. No, it's okay, you're good. Normally. Normally I'm a little bit faster with this. You're right. There's only 1 card left in the deck, and it's a card that's honestly actually in every single expanded deck. It's your boy Guzma in the house. Ah, yeah. The Guzma is Prime Catcher on a supporter. We switch our opponents, one of our opponent's Pokemon to the active spot, and then we switch our own active with another new bench Pokemon. I am going to grab some water. Feel free to screenshot this or whatever, or ask questions in the chat. I'll be right back. I am going to get some water. Holy shit. Alright, I'm back. My throat feels a little bit better now that I have a few sips of water, but I'll sip once more. Please ask any questions about the deck. I will probably cue the ad right now, so feel free to ask the questions you have about this deck or any cards that you might want to add and what we should cut from it. But I'm gonna let the ad play now while I sip some more water and shuffle up the list. Alright. You're gonna be playing TCG Live? That's completely fine. Enjoy, enjoy. I'm gonna be seeing if this deck is consistent. Actually, I know it's consistent already. I already playtested this, but you guys don't know that yet. We're gonna see how well it runs, shall we? Also, I will actually... These sleeves have gone with me for a very long time, but I really need to replace them for the expanded. I just like the pink, okay? I really like the pink. But you're back already? That's fast. Is there maintenance or something? Is there maintenance on TCG Live? Is that what it is? Anyway, let's go shuffle up. Oh, you're back from the ad. Okay, I understand. Gotcha, gotcha. You're gonna have me on in the background, don't worry. Aw, thank you, cutie. Appreciate it. Alright. And like I said before, I will explain most of my thought processes for this list, but since we have an imaginary opponent for this tabletop testing, some of the explanations are going to be a little bit wishy-washy, so just be prepared for that. Like, we have to assume a fair amount of things from our opponent's board state that we can't see right now because we don't have an opponent that we are playing against. So that's something, so please bear with me on that. Wishy-washy to Pokemon? Yeah, sure. Whatever. Whatever, man. Okay, so let's flip a coin to see if we're going first or second. Let's say I would call tails. I want to call tails. And we get tails. So I'm going to choose to go second. So let's get our opening 7 cards. There we go. Let's check our opening hand. It's probably gonna be a mulligan, but you never know. Maybe we're lucky. It's not a mulligan. This hand is actually pretty fucking goated. Holy shit. This is a 0 mulligan good opener hand. Like, guaranteed combo. Not really necessarily. Like, Sparkling Crystal might be in prizes here. We don't know that yet. But and let's also set our opponent's prizes because they're also 6 at this moment. It's actually probably better to lay our prizes out like this so that they're more interchangeable for any other cards. Since we do have Peonia in the list, so we do want to be able to see which prize is which one. Alright, so let's open our Pokemon, let our opponent have our turn 1, then it comes back to us. We draw Gallade. That's a little unfortunate, but that's okay. So let's play Tag Call. I'm not gonna do price checking for now because we're gonna be in our deck a lot. We're gonna Tag Call for Guzma Hala, of course. Let's just check the counts on everything. We do have a double Dragon Energy, at least one. We have a Path to the Peak, at least one. The most important part is, of course, Sparkling Crystal, which we do have. How many Guzma Hala do we? So we have a third one, a second one here, sorry. We probably want to grab that as discard fodder for the other one. We have a third one here. Fourth one there. And I saw the first Cynthia and Caitlin. I'm not entirely sure if the second one is in deck. It seems that it's not in deck. That's fine. We Tag Call for 2 Guzma Hala, first and foremost. Then we play Guzma Hala, discarding Guzma Hala, and I want to say Gallade. Actually, it's probably better if we hold off on this. No, we shouldn't. We shouldn't hold off on this. Discard Guzma Hala and Gallade. Let's grab ourselves Special Energy, a Tool, and a Stadium. Grab Double Dragon Energy, path to the peak. And where is the Sparkling Crystal? There's our shiny little crystal. Where's Sam today? I have no idea. Yo, hello, welcome in Rare Candy Show. Hello, hello, hope you're doing well. How's it going? Do you show Chef Husky? I'm not show it. Do you mean do I know Chef Husky? Because the answer is like yes. I want to say most Pokemon TCG content creators do know each other. We're a pretty tight-knit community, if we're gonna be honest. But I do also moderate for several of Chef Husky's, mostly for the specific cook-off tournaments. I do moderate and judge for those tournaments as well. So yeah, I do know him. Yeah. What deck am I playing? We're playing Tatsugiri Control and Expanded. It's a pretty fun list, if I'm gonna be honest. It's a very consistent deck, surprisingly. Okay, so we played our Guzma Hala. So what we can do now is we can attach Double Dragon Energy to the Tatsugiri. We can attach Sparkling Crystal to Tatsugiri. So now it's practically ready to attack with Cinnabar Lure. We're gonna first play out our hand a little bit further to see if we can thin out the deck a little bit more. We're gonna play Path to the Peak. Stop our opponents from doing anything. And I do want to rip both these Trainers Mails to see if I can find something like N on the next turn. Because that's kind of ideal. Let's see, so the first Trainer's Mail. Let's still look at the top 4 cards of our deck and grab any trainer we find here. Faba is a really good find. Faba is very versatile. Cinnabar has lore. We met each other friends. Oh yeah, true. We did actually meet each other through last year's content creator cook-off. That was really fun. You know him too? Hell yeah. You do mostly tabletop content every Wednesday. Slay! Have I not? I don't think we know each other. I'll check it out for sure. We maybe do if you go by different names, but I don't remember seeing your guys' name somewhere. So I'll go check. I always like to see more TCG content, specifically Pokemon, but also other TCGs I like. Let's play the other Trainer's Mail to see what we can find off that. See, look, we found N. We also have Gladion. Gladion might actually be more important than N specifically to grab off the Trainer's Mail, because we do know there's a Cynthia Caitlin in the prizes. But I think N is better for next turn. So we're gonna play N. Or not, we're not gonna play N. We already played the supporter for turn. We're gonna grab N to add to our hand from the Trainer's Mail. When Expanded comes to life, I might have 100,000 trainer points to spend to get credits. You may have saved up a bit. A bit, he says. Hell yeah. Slay. Oh yeah, I do not care about sub counts. Holy moly. Please. Whether you have 10 subs or 10 million subs, I'm just there for content. If it's good content, I stay. If not, I probably support but don't watch. Anyway, we played out most of our hands for turn 1. We physically cannot play another card from our hand, so let's go for a Cinnabar Lure. So look at the top 10 cards of my deck. Put any number of Pokemon we find there onto our bench. Let's see. We're just gonna flip them one by one, okay? Lusamine, that's not a Pokemon. That's a Tatsugiri. That is a Pokemon, but not necessarily one that we want to bench. Trainer's Mail. Tag Call. Orbeetle, that's a really good backup to find. This is a really good backup to find. Reversal Energy. Alolan Muk is solid. It's not. I'm mostly looking for Magnezone and Gallade here, if I'm gonna be honest. There's 3 more. Vileplume is a nice find. Dusknoir is also a nice find, and there's 1 more flip, right? It's another Guzma Hala. Okay. So among these 10 cards, we definitely want to be benching Dusknoir and Vileplume and Alolan Muk, 100%. Also Orbeetle. We're not benching the Tatsugiri. We're not going to do that. We're going to shuffle the rest back into the deck. Sub is irrelevant when you love making content. Exactly. Subs are indeed irrelevant when you love making content, which I do. That's the reason I'm still doing it, even though like there's not a large influx or outflux of viewers or watchers or subscribers or whatever. I don't care. I just love the game, and I'll keep making content for it. Probably. Well, okay. If real life is very, very busy, I can't make content for it, but still. Okay, that's our turn. Let's be incredibly pessimistic and assume that Tatsugiri EX will faint this turn, or be knocked out by our opponent. It is, after all, their turn 2 going first, so let's say that Tatsugiri EX is knocked out. Tatsugiri goes to the discard pile. Our opponent's now at 4 prizes, and we're definitely going to be pushing Orbeetle here. Orbeetle's active, so neither player can play any item cards. Spectral Breach blocks special energies from doing anything other than being colorless, and Power of Alchemy blocks basic Pokemon's abilities everywhere. You do this shit because you love it. Hell yeah, exactly. Okay, let's draw for turn 2. Find Stealthy Hood. Okay, Stealthy Hood is really good. So if we don't, if we're playing against a Garbodor list, this one is mostly important. We want to attach a Stealthy Hood to something that we want to stay active, an ability that we want to stay active even through Garbodor lock or Wobbuffet or whatever. Now these two can't be affected by Wobbuffet, so I will be attaching the Stealthy Hood to Vileplume so that Vileplume can't be turned off by Wobbuffet. And actually, Wobbuffet is already turned off by Alolan Muk, so Wobbuffet doesn't even do anything to Vileplume, which is really funny. Anyway, the rest of our hand. I think since our Tatsugiri got knocked out, we kind of have to play Teammates. Yeah, and one of the cards I do want to get from Teammates is Reversal Energy, because we need other stage 2s in play. We don't have to show our opponent what we grab, of course, but I'm gonna show you for the sake of the game. What other card are we gonna grab? It's really a tough decision, especially since we're probably gonna be playing next turn. I think I would like the option of Gladion in our hand for next turn. Like, not having Gallade on board sucks. But Gallade's not as important as Magnezone. Hello, Katamayo. That is indeed a Noah. Yes. By the way, thanks for making this list. I didn't realize I didn't have Stoutland on TCG Live, so I dreamed a couple copies. Hell yeah, let's go. You'll love to see it. Okay, Teammates goes to discard. These 2 cards go to my hand. Can I build GLC decks on Pokemon TCG Live? Technically you can. The format is out of trainer trial rotation, but I think you still can build GLC decks on TCG Live. If I'm gonna be completely honest, I haven't really played a lot of GLC. I've played a lot of Standard, Expanded, and Eternal, but GLC is not a format I've played a lot of. I think that's mostly because I also like to play with Rulebox Pokemon. But no knock on you if you like GLC, of course, but I just haven't played it a lot personally. Anyway, what we want to do here is attach the Reversal to Orbeetle. Unfortunately, Reversal Energy is turned off by Dusknoir, but that's okay. We can still get 1 evolution with Evomancy, so we're gonna do that. And I think the most important part, well, the thing is, it depends. If we're playing against Iron Thorns, we want Disgusting Ball and Vileplume in play, but I think, let's just say in general, like say we're playing against Rich Drago or something, we want to have Magnezone in play. Magnezone is like one of our biggest enablers. So let's go for that. Shuffle the deck. Shuffle, shuffle. Whoops. Some more shuffling. Like I said, it's kind of unfortunate that we don't have Gallade in play, but it is what it is. I'll take another sip of water. Make sure you also hydrate properly, chat. Make sure to drink some water or coffee or tea or orange juice or Diet Coke or whatever the fuck you can find that you can drink. I'm mostly drinking because my throat is getting very dry today. But also because hydration is good for you. Don't drink alcohol because that actually dries you out. I mean, you can drink alcohol if you want to, but make sure you drink other stuff. Coffee at this time. Hey, I don't know. American people might be watching as well. It's morning for them. Or like close to, actually more close to lunch at this point, but hey. That was a good sip of water. God, I love water. Anyway, we used Evomancy. It's our opponent's turn. It's very likely, very, very likely that they KO Orbeetle. Let's be honest. It's just sitting inactive. We're going down to 3 prize cards, but that's okay. Because we have Float Stone in hand as well. So I think what I'll do is I'm not going to attach Float Stone to Magnezone. Actually, we lost Reversal Energy, so Magnezone can't attack anyway. So I'm going to attach the Float Stone to Alolan Muk. Sorry, I'll push Alolan Muk, draw my card for turn, and then I'll attach the Float Stone to Muk. But we found Guzma! Let's go! Guzma is really important here. I think I'll hold off on the N, of course. Let's play Gladion first to see what's prized. As we can see, there's a bunch of Pokemon prized. Gloom, Vileplume, Gallade, Orbeetle. That's fine. That's fine. They can stay here. Double Dragon we don't need anymore either. I have the hiccups because of all the water. Fuck. Oh my god. Jesus. Goddamn hiccups. Anyway. Cynthia Caitlin is like practically the only card that I want for the rest of this match. So that's a very easy decision for me. So we're just going to shuffle the rest of the prizes and we're not going to look at them anymore. We don't need to grab any prizes for this match to advance. And we don't need any of the cards that are in the prize cards. So that's great. We don't have to show our opponents that we are grabbing this card, of course. But hey, doing it anyway. And we can play a second supporter for turn. Honestly, if we play a second supporter for turn, we might not want to attach a Float Stone there. Let's say every deck has like a basic Pokemon or anything, a support Pokemon that we can gust up. So let's say we gust up a cool guy, push Magnezone. I don't want to leave Magnezone inactive, so I will attach Float Stone and retreat to, let's say Alolan Muk is the best to push up here specifically. Because Alolan Muk is very good at stopping things like Crobat and the Dene. And those are mostly setup Pokemon. So if we're past the point of setup, this is the one that I'm like most okay with to lose. Only 3 more eras of cards left. Jesus freaking Christ. You actually got through. Oh no, wait. No, never mind. I'm not gonna say anything. Anyway, we played 2 supporters, the rest of our hand is supporters, so we can't do anything. We're gonna have to pass here. And let's say we stuck our opponent for once. Let's say we can stick him. You got through 50% of the cards, or eras of cards today. Hell yeah. We draw into Tag Call. That's a card that we cannot play. Cool! At this point, I think it's very important to start targeting the special energies or actual energies of our opponents. So we're definitely going to play Faba as our first supporter for turn. But we're not really having much gas in the tank otherwise. And our opponent is at 3 prizes, so I will be playing N. So we will shuffle both Both players will shuffle their hand into the deck. And I will draw 6 cards from that. My opponent will only draw 3. You gotta go, see ya. Thank you for hanging out. Appreciate ya. Thank you, thank you. Alright, let's give it a good shuffle. Or we draw our 6 from these. Let our opponent cut us if we want. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so we got 3 useless cards in our hand and 3 good cards in our hands. Awesome. So we play Faba and N as our supporters for turn. I'm pretty sure our opponent is a little stuck now, so we're just going to pass. They're probably going to do some things, but not really affect my board state. We're going to draw for turn. So Guzma Hala is interesting. I don't really want to play that right now, but if my stadium gets bumped, that's maybe a nice way to thin my deck and also grab the next stadium. What we definitely want to do is we want to see more options. So I will play Cynthia and Caitlin, discarding a Magnezone from my hand. So this means we can recover a supporter card from our hand, from our discard pile into our hands. That's Teammates is interesting. It's probably best to get Faba back for now, and we're allowed to draw 3 cards because of the discard from Cynthia and Caitlin. We draw into Dusknoir, special Double Dragon Energy, and Team Flare Grunt. Team Flare Grunt is really good. Boop. Discard energy. Your turn. They pass to our turn. Let's say, make it spicy. They bump path. We draw for turn. We're getting once again a lot of Pokemon that we don't really need. So let's play Guzma Hala, discarding Dusknoir and Vileplume. To go search our deck for a special energy, a tool, and a stadium. I'm pretty sure we have no tools left. Oh my god, it would have been the fucking top deck. But we can grab a Double Dragon Energy to thin, and a Path to the Peak. As you can see, our deck is getting a little thin, but we are truly never going to run out of cards to play with the amount of recovery that we run. Don't you worry about that. The fact that Magnezone enables us so much is really, really nice. Okay, so we found another Path to the Peak. Let's play Path to the Peak. And since we really want the Path to the Peak to stick, let's play Lusamine to recover Path to the Peak. And let's say Team Flare Grunt. Actually, I want Cynthia and Caitlin back from this. There we go. We add those to our hands, and then we once again pass our turn. Opponent's probably stumped for a little. Okay, we draw into Lusamine anyway, that's fine. Let's see. We probably want to play Faba. It's very important to once again disrupt some special energies. And then let's Lusamine back Lusamine and Faba into our hands. The Lusamine loop is starting. Hell yeah. That's our turn. We go to the next turn. We play Faba. Lost zone something again. We play Lusamine to grab Faba and Lusamine back into our hands. And we pass our turn again. We can do this for a few times. Let's say we do it one more time, like Faba. And then Lusamine for Faba and Lusamine. So that now our opponent, all of our relevant Double Dragon. I think I did this, how many times? Yeah, I did it 4 times now in total. In Faba, so our opponent has no Double Dragon energies left, which is really nice. Okay, we once again pass our turn, of course. Draw the next one. Right. Let's play Cynthia and Caitlin, discarding Orbeetle to grab. Do I want to grab Lusamine back? At this point, I want to grab Team Grunt back. And we draw 3 cards. As you can see, we're building quite a large hand size now, thanks to the repeated Cynthia and Caitlin. and just a lot of turns passing by in general. So that's really nice. If we had Gallade, we would go through our deck even faster, but that's fine. Okay, so we played one supporter, the Cynthia Caitlin. And then let's play Team Flare Grunt to disrupt our opponents a little bit. Pass the turn. We draw for turn. We can Lusamine for Team Flare Grunt and Lusamine. And then we can play Team Flare Grunt, pass the turn. Lusamine for Team Flare Grunt and Lusamine. And Team Flare Grunt. Dude, the Lusamine loop is so fucking disgusting. If you have Magnezone in play, you're literally infinite supportering. It's so crazy. At this point, how many energies did we have? Probably not enough. We can start going for maybe Team Rocket's Handiwork. And maybe we can go for another Team Rocket's Handiwork. Let's flip 4 coins. Let's flip 4 coins to see how much our opponent discards from this. Just for funsies. Well, we practically got our opponent in a manhandle now. We got 3 heads, so they discard 6 cards from our deck. That's pretty good. Next turn. Okay, let's take a recovery turn so we can Lusamine for Lusamine and Cynthia Caitlin. And then we can Lusamine for Lusamine and Team Rocket's Handiwork. Pass the turn. Maybe they have an energy again. So we have a big enough hand that we can just Lusamine for Lusamine and Team Flare Grunt. And then play the Team Flare Grunt. I haven't found Plumeria yet. What if they start building on the bench? Well, let's pass. Let's see if we can draw into Plumeria. Let's Cynthia Caitlin, discarding Tatsugiri. Get Team Flare Grunt back and draw 3 cards. Don't draw Plumeria, that's fine. Let's play another Cynthia Caitlin, discard another Tatsugiri. To get Lusamine back and draw 3. That deck out. Okay, cool. I didn't realize we were that close to deck out. I should have chilled probably. Anyway, if we assume we have 1 more card in our deck, I know this feels like cheating. I know. I just should. This technically counts as a loss. Okay, so next turn we draw a card for turn. Play Plumeria, discarding 2 cards from our hand to discard one of those fellas. And then we play N that I don't have in hand. Okay, let's just see if we can get a good setup on the next game. Okay, I heart choked there. Let's be honest, I heart choked there. Should have recovered N eons ago. Maybe Marnie's better. Loki, I think Marnie might be better for this deck than N. But N is funny. And I like N more than Marnie. So we're gonna keep N in the deck. After shuffling, I will once again take another sip of water. Make sure you also drink plenty. Alright. Gotta give it a thorough shuffle, of course. Give it a thorough shuffle. Shuffle, shuffle, shuffle. And let's assume we're going second again. Give ourselves 7 opening cards. Let's see, is there Tatsugiri in here? There is. We have Guzma Hala, so we're Gucci. Kinda sucks that we have these 2 in hand, but it's okay. It is what it is. No, don't want to put them. I want to go this, this, this. Okay, let me take a sip of water before we continue. Make sure you hydrate as well. Very, very important. Ah, good shit. I swear I'm not drinking alcohol. It is actually water. But when water is cold, it hits so nicely. Especially if you're in a warm room. Anyway, flip over. Opponent has turn 1. Now we go for our turn 1. That sucks, that top deck. Holy shit. We're gonna play Guzma Hala. And you know what? We're gonna discard. I think we're gonna discard Lusamine, so I can start to lose a cycle as fast as I want without having to think about, oh, I have N in hand. I'm gonna shuffle the Lusamine away. I will discard the Magnezone in this instance. We're gonna go for a deck check. We got Sparkling Crystal. We got double Dragon Energy. And we also got the second Path to the Peak. Nice! Let's see what else is priced. And Caitlin are neither priced. Lusamine's also not priced. Awesome. Teammates not priced. Plumeria not priced. Those are like the kind of the important ones in most matchups. I haven't looked at what Pokemon were priced, but we're just going to see what we get from the gamble, of course, from the lore. Because we don't really have control over what we get from the lore anyway. Right? That's kind of like the gist of it. I just really hope that we can hit a Magnezone from this. That would be like ideal. Go. Attach the Sparkling Crystal and the double Dragon Energy to the Tatsugiri. Play the Path to the Peak. I don't like how this layout. I see some people doing that layout, but I like this more. Ooh, pardon. By the way, I forgot to put down the number of our opponent's prize cards. We have nothing else to be playing here, so let's just go for Cinnabar Lure. We find Magnezone. Huge. Half rip the first one as well. There's only 3 in deck. And Vileplume off the second. That's crazy. That's really nice. Those are like the 2 most important ones. If we can find Gallade at some point, that'd be awesome. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We find another Vileplume. Okay. So unfortunately, we didn't really find anything else other than Vileplume and Magnezone. But I will bench both the Vileplumes in this case. So I can push one of the Vileplumes if needs be. I think this is a fun enough game standpoint where I do want to continue with the fact that Tatsugiri can be knocked out here. I think that's interesting enough. Especially, I have more than 1 double dragon in deck left still. There's not 2 priced. Yeah, no, there are 2 double dragon priced, but that's okay. We can fetch Gladion. We don't have Gallade in play, so this game will be on the tough side. This game will definitely be hella tough, but that's okay. Alright, let's assume our opponent KOs the Tatsugiri. They're not being controlled yet, so what will we push here? Let's push Vileplume. Draw a card for turn. We have Cynthia and Caitlin here. That's actually not a bad top deck whatsoever. Actually, N's maybe better though. No, I don't think N is... yeah, N is better actually. Let's play N. Shuffle our hand into our... Like the draw from Cynthia and Caitlin is nice, but I'd rather keep the Lusamine in discard and I don't want to recover the Guzma. You know what I mean? I'd rather play N to just get more chances on seeing fresh cards here, especially since my deck is so thick still. It's very unlikely that I'll draw into the cards that I just had in hand. So ideally we draw into like Tatsugiri EX, Double Dragon Energy, and Gladion or Peonia. But that's like a wish, of course. And we get our opponent to 4 cards in hand, which is really nice. Yeah, we find Gladion and 5 Pokemon. Okay, so we're gonna have to pass. How likely is it that our opponent kills the Vileplume? Probably pretty likely. Let's say they do. I should have. Oh, I didn't have Float Stone. I thought I had Float Stone. Oh wait, I could have played. Sorry, whoops. I forgot. I have access to 2 supporters. We can play Gladion right now. So let's check what's in the prizes. I should use this for double dragon energy, actually. There's a Guzma Hala though. I have to use it for a double dragon. Let's just really hope that we top deck another supporter. Really hoping that we top deck another supporter. Trying to manifest it. Then we pass our turn and Vileplume gets knocked. We push the other Vileplume. That's a tag call. I can't play that. Unfortunate. We're gonna have to pass. Our opponent will probably knock the Vileplume. We have to push Magnezone and draw. And that's game. That's so sad, bro. That end hand was diabolical, bro. I could have gone for the Guzma Hala, but that, once again, the best it would have gotten me was like Float Stone. Yo, hello Ben. Welcome in. Hope you're doing well. I'm doing pretty alright, thank you for asking. I'm doing pretty aight. I love playing this deck. It's so silly. It's somehow so consistent, but also not. It's consistent with how it sets up, but the Pokemon you get from the setup is like so not consistent at all. It's kind of funny. Cypher Maniac might be an idea to add to this list / Mallow. But I don't know. I'm not sold on that because that's once again one supporter that you would just have to find raw, which is not something. Maybe Academy at Night. Academy at Night is interesting because that way we can search our deck. If we do the Guzma Hala thing, we can use Academy at Night for certain matchups as a stadium to get. And then we can choose one of our Pokemon in our hand, if we have any, to just put on top so that we guaranteed get that from the Cinnabar lore. So that's maybe an interesting idea. Playing Expanded or... No, this is Expanded. We're not playing POKÉ-COMMANDER today. Every Tuesday I try to cook a cool Expanded deck, and every Saturday or Sunday we play POKÉ-COMMANDER with the community. Let's see. This is once again assuming that we go second. This is a mulligan, of course. There's only 3 Tatsugiri EX in our deck and no other basics, so mulligans are bound to happen at some point. It just has to happen at some point. Like I'm not even sure what the odds are of mulliganing, but it's probably north of 50%. I'm tempted to say it's like 60 or 70, maybe 80% chance to mulligan. Alright, give it a good shuffle. Then hope that we find a viable opening hand. Let's just say that. I think that's the most important part. Like, any opening hand that has Tatsugiri in it makes me happy. Hey, look! We have the raw combo already. Without having... We also have multiple ways to find the combo, but we still have the combo already. That's kind of... Okay. That was one mulligan and then crazy opening hands. That's really funny. Put down our 6 prizes. Opponent is at 6 prizes too when we start. Flip it over. Okay, let's see. Our opponent gets their first turn, then we get our first turn. So, we already have the Sparkling Crystal and the Double Dragon Energy that we want to find off the Guzma Hala. But that's fine. I'm still gonna play the Tag Call to fin some more. Ideally, I want to grab like a Guzma Hala from this and then a Cynthia Caitlin. I thought I saw it at the back. There we go. This is probably what we want from this. Or actually, no, I don't want to grab Cynthia and Caitlin yet. Do I have other supporters in hands? I do have Gladion. I think it is better to grab second Guzma, or third technically here. Now let's price check any further to see what important cards are here. Faba is in deck, that's nice. Teammates is here. Peonia is here. And is here. Plumeria is here. 1 Lusamine. So there's 1 Lusamine in prizes. That's kind of relevant, but we have both. Do we have both Cynthia and Caitlin? I only saw one. No, we have both. We have both. Okay. Because I have 1 proxy one and one reverse holo. I grabbed the reverse holo earlier, and then I saw the proxy one at the back, so I was like, yeah, we have them both. I don't know why I'm shuffling, because I'm going back in my deck, but... Tag Call searches our deck for 2 tag team cards. We choose to Guzma Hala. And it might surprise you, but we're going to play Guzma Hala. Discarding Orbeetle Magnezone from our hands. To search our deck for a Stadium, a Tool, and a Special Energy. So we have our Stadium here. We have our Special Energy here. Now I just gotta think if I want a Float Stone or a Stealthy Hood. Probably Stealthy Hood in this scenario. Is Stealthy Hood priced? It looks like it. I didn't really see if Stealthy Hood was priced. I didn't see it. Float Stone is here. I don't see Stealthy Hood index, so that means that's priced. Okay. That's fine. I really don't mind Stealthy Hood being priced. It would have been a nice luxury to have on top of this hand. But normally what you would grab with this Guzma Hala is, of course, the Double Dragon Energy, the Path to the Peak, and then the Sparkling Crystal as your tool. But we already had a Sparkling Crystal and a Double Dragon Energy in our hand. And you can also choose to do this not with a build of Guzma Hala, but for like Chorus's Tenacity, down stores that will also grab you this entire combo. But I like this one because Tag Call can search for Guzma Hala first and foremost, but it can also search for Cynthia and Caitlin, which is really nice. Right, so let's put that Path to the Peak in play, and let's use Cinnabar Lure. Let's look at the top 10 cards of our deck, see if we got anything cool. Teammates. Vileplume, Dusknoir, really good. Trainers Mail, Tag Call, Trainers Mail, Magnezone, excellent. Oh my god, and a Alolan Muk and another Dusknoir. Okay. So, from these 10 cards, unfortunately, once again, not a Gallade. We do want to bench Dusknoir and Alolan Muk and Magnezone and Vileplume. I'm not going to bench the second Dusknoir. Feels a little overkill. We can do that, but we don't... I don't think I want to do that. I don't think I want to bench the second Dusknoir. This point in time... Sorry, I'll move these up a little bit higher so you guys can see them whilst I'm shuffling. I do want to shuffle on screen just so that it's obvious that I'm shuffling, of course, but there you go. Just a reminder of what's on the bench. Alright, that's our first turn. Let's assume after turn 1 that they KO Tatsugiri. Because it's their turn 2 going first, so they likely have a KO on Tatsugiri. I will push Dusknoir and draw a card per turn. We can play 2 supporters in our turn now. So let's first play Gladion to see what's in prizes. I think there's quite a few important things in here. Reversal is in there as well. Oh. This is a lot of important things. Stealthy Hood's not that important for now. Neither is Double Dragon Energy. Tag Call is not that important at this point in time. It's mostly neither is Gallade. I'm just deciding if I want Reversal or Lusamine here. Reversal is also good. I'm gonna choose for Lusamine this time. Because we do want to Lusa Loop. Well, we can do the Lusa Loop with Cynthia and Caitlin and then Lusamine. It's not as efficient though. We don't need that efficient of a loop. Let's go for Reversal Energy off prizes. We don't have to reveal our opponents, of course, what we're getting from prizes. What's a Dino Nuggy? Go ahead and click the button. Oh wait, you can't. Ah shit, yeah, that's a Twitch only thing. Twitch has something that's called channel redemption. So you can save channel points by watching the stream or subscribing. And then you can redeem them for funny things, like having a check-in counter. Like you can claim a Dino Nuggy once every stream to and to then flex like, oh, I have this many Dino-Nuggies, look how often I am here. That's not a thing on YouTube, unfortunately. So that's just on the Twitch side of things. I'm sorry. I was like, oh, why don't you go ahead and redeem it for yourself? But then I realized, oh wait, you're watching from YouTube. You can't do Dino-Nuggie. Okay, so we play Gladion, but we have Magnezone in play, so we can play another supporter if we want to. Also, I really want to attach this Float Stone to the Muk, because it has 4 retreat costs. Okay, let's play Guzma Hala. Discarding Guzma Hala and Vileplume. Let's see what we can grab off of it. Grab a double Dragon Energy. We're not going to be able to grab a tool. But we are going to be able to grab another stadium. Another Path to the Peak. I want to thin my deck out at this point. Like, I know I don't have any other supporters in hand, but I want to thin more. Because I want to be able to draw the Tatsugiri, start attaching double dragons at the point when Dusknoir dies. It's, yeah, I can just swing again with Tatsugiri potentially. Sounds good. If you're a little disappointed that there wasn't actual nuggets, I am very sorry, man. Unfortunately, I do not have the facilities for that, bro. Could you imagine, though? Could you imagine if I could like send actual nuggets to your guys' house? That would be so dope. Anyway, like I said, this hand is now pretty dead because we didn't go for Lusamine, but that's okay. Surely we'll pass here. Our Dusknoir is gonna get knocked out. Surely we'll just be the top deck GOAT of all time, right? Surely. I mean, we can't play that card. We literally cannot play that card. That's really annoying, actually. I think I'm gonna leave a little Muk inactive and pass again. Actually, yeah, Reversal is active now, so what I think I want to do is I want to attach Reversal Energy to Magnezone. Use Float Stone's free retreat to bring Magnezone to the active spots. And then use Gyro Ball to switch this Pokemon with one of my bench Pokemon. And then my opponent switches the defending Pokemon with one of their bench Pokemon. So it's kind of like an escape rope effect. And then hope that that is enough to stabilize. Let's assume it. This is once again to explain. We're playing solo player. We're playing single player here. I have to assume some things from my opponent. So let's assume for now that they don't have a means of attacking this turn. Let's assume that for just one turn. Like, they'll probably have it next turn. I once again draw into absolutely nothing. Cool. Awesome. I'll retreat into Vileplume and pass. They will knock out Vileplume, probably. We can now play items again. Push, Alolan Muk, draw for turn. What is this draw, bro? I'm just straight up baffled that I'm not drawing into anything, bro. #1 streamer straight away. That would be so cool. I know, right? It would be so cool. Let's see. We get to search our deck for 2 tag team cards. Playing Tag Call. I think I'd really have to grab 2 Cynthia and Caitlins at this point. Just in case one Cynthia and Caitlin doesn't grab us everything we need. We have to at this point. I could roll dice to see if they can attack. I can do that. Yeah. But I'm also trying to assume... Like, currently we have a dummy Regidrago V-Star player as on the opposing side of the board. I'm also trying to acknowledge what their average board state would look like at this point of the game. And try to, reason out if they can or cannot attack this turn. That's usually how I go about it. Or what's better for content. Like, if I want the deck to go for another turn, then I'll just let the deck go for another turn. It's my stream. I do whatever the fuck I want. Anyway, let's play Cynthia and Caitlin. We get to put the supporter card from our discard pile into our hands. We can't choose Cynthia Caitlin with this. I think the only supporter card in our discard pile is Guzma Hala. That's okay. So we choose Guzma Hala, but when we play this card, we're allowed to discard another card from our hands. Let's discard this Gloom. And if we do that, we draw 3 cards off of this Cynthia Caitlin as well. So, that's a whole lot of nothing, if I'm gonna be honest. That kinda sucks. Let's see. Guzma Hala will grab exactly nothing from my deck. Well, it can grab 1 Double Dragon Energy. No, it doesn't. It doesn't. The 4th is in prizes. The second stadium is also in hand. There's no tools left in deck, so this grabs nothing, of course. But I had to grab it. Like, once again, Faba is a really good disruptive supporter, but I think I'll have to play another Cynthia and Caitlin here. Let's discard Vileplume. I'd rather discard Orbeetle at this point. We can't recover Cynthia and Caitlin, like I said. We can recover Guzma Hala with this. And then we draw 3 cards again. We can play 2 supporters during our turn because of Magnezone's nifty ability here, by the way. Okay, search for tag team Pokemon with Tag Call. Yeah. Tag Call is an item card that says that we can search our deck for up to 2 tag team cards, reveal them, and put them into our hand. So you can search for tag team Pokemon and tag team supporters. There are no other card types with the tag team tribe, but any card that has this little box with tag team on it can be searched from Tag Call. Anyway, now that I've drawn a lot, we still have access. We do find Tatsugiri, so that's really nice. So let's go for Tatsugiri and attach a Double Dragon Energy to it. We also have 2 Trainers Mail to dig a little bit deeper. So let's play Trainers Mail. So we look at the top 4 cards of our deck and reveal a trainer card we find there to put into our hands. Of these 2, I'd rather want Team Flare Grunt added to hands. Then we shuffle these back, and then we'll play another Trainers Mail. You're welcome, you're welcome. The Tag Call engine is pretty cool. Especially, I think you see the Tag Call engine a lot with people that play ADP Raging Bolt. ADP is the Arceus, DAWG, and Palkia GX tag team. Because once again, it searches if you have the Arceus and DAWG and Palkia GX in active. You can play the Tag Call to find Guzma Hala, and play Guzma Hala to find your Double Dragon Energy, cool Stadium, and maybe a cool tool. So that's the main reason why Tag Call's played. It's just for Guzma Hala engines, because that card is insane. Let's play another Trainer's Mail to see what other trainer we can grab. Okay, so we have one option, because Trainer's Mail can't grab Trainer's Mail. It says it specifically in the text, so we have to grab another Guzma Hala. Oh my god, man. This is not epic, I'll say. This is not epic. Alright, let's think. Do I have the regular Guzma in hand? I don't. So I'd have to disrupt an attack and attack with Tatsugiri next turn. The latter's not really a problem, the former might be. I think the best course of action here is to let Alolan Muk die inactive. Fortunately, our Float Stone also goes with that, but we can have push Tatsugiri EX. Our opponents have 1 prize, by the way, very scary. Draw for turn. We draw into Muk. Okay. A lot of useless cards in my hand right now. First and foremost, we do attach another Double Dragon Energy to the Tatsugiri. Our Sparkling Crystal is in discard, unfortunately, so we can still play 2 supporters this turn. So I think the best way to disrupt our opponent is to play Faba to put their special energy cards attached to their active in the Lost Zone, and then also play Team Flare Grunt to discard another energy attached to their active. So that means if they're playing Regidrago and they have like Double Dragon plus Grass or Double Dragon plus Fire, they now have that Double Dragon in the Lost Zone and that Fire or Grass in the discard. So their active has no energy now. Which means we can go for a relatively safe Cinnabar, mid-game Cinnabar lure here, which is crazy. Let's flip the top 10 over 1 by 1. We find Stoutland. That's a really big one. We find Orbeetle. Reversal is already there. That really sucks. This is a really mediocre one. This is a really mediocre Cinnabar Lure. Stoutland is a really good find. Orbeetle doesn't really do anything here anymore. Magnezone we already have in play. Don't really want to bench duplicates because I don't have any Pokemon pickup in this deck. So I think the rest just goes back. Which is crazy. How the fuck did we only find Stoutland? That's nuts. That's crazy. Anyway. If we were playing this deck against an actual opponent, we would lose by this point. Surely we would lose by this point. I mean, they won't attack this turn. So we get another turn to draw and do things, maybe. I don't think we're gonna get out of this unless this Trainers Mail actually hits something goated. This Trainers Mail was also a top deck. Holy shit, we draw into N. Oh my god! N is really good here. Okay, never mind. This Trainers Mail saves my ass. Let's go. If I N into Guzma, that would be so big. Let's see if there are any other cards that I want to play out of my hands. I can't play any card out of my. I could go Guzma Hala, then N, but that doesn't achieve anything. I need to N here right now. Okay, play N. Both players shuffle their hand into their deck. Then each player draws a card for each of their remaining prize cards. So it's like Iono, but you don't shuffle to the bottom. That's kind of like the big difference. I love N. I love this card, man. It's such a cool card. Alright, let's draw 6 cards off of this. Our opponent only gets 1. That's why this is like the best top deck here. And we can still play another supporter for turn. What the fuck is this? That's crazy. Let's play Team Rocket's Handiwork. We flip 2 coins and for each heads, our opponent discards 2 cards off the top of their deck. We flip 1 head, so they discard 2 cards. Okay, anyway. And we can go for another Cinnabar Lure here. That's like... We did very little disruption to active this specific turn. So after this Cinnabar Lure, surely they would have a way to KO something. I'm just gonna keep playing to see how far we can get, but if we get like nothing off of this specific Cinnabar Lure, then I'm not gonna continue playing either. Because we're really looking for other Vileplume, not this one, not and we're looking for Gallade. Those are like the big ones, and I guess the second Dusknoir wouldn't hurt either. So we're not looking for any of this. That's 9, and that's 10. Okay, we're not hitting. They are in here, right? Yeah, the Vileplume is here. The Alolan Muk would have been nice. Oh, Gallade. Oh, yeah, that's right. I think there was like... Oh, yeah. There's 2 Gallade in my hand. That's why we didn't find those. Okay, cool. Awesome. Okay, let's just queue another game. I think there's another ad inbound on Twitch, so let me just queue that up in the chamber before we do anything else. Yeah, there's one due in 6 minutes, so let's put that one in the chamber. The YouTube people won't see anything from this, so that they will be like, ads, what's that? Probably. Well, let's be honest, YouTube also runs like lots of ads. But not on live streams, I don't think. I'm not entirely sure. I don't really watch live streams on YouTube. I usually do that on Twitch. YouTube is more for me for the long form content, the short form content, but not really live streaming to watch. Well, it depends. It depends on who's live on YouTube, I would say. Some of my friends do also multi-stream or only stream on YouTube, so if they specifically are live, I'll go watch. But once again, kind of depends. Also, make sure you drink enough, chat. I know it's cold, but make sure you drink. I'm gonna be taking another sip of water before we're continuing, because, oh my god, my throat is as dry as a Sahara Desert. There we go. The relative newcomer. This looks like blind chess on crack. No, this deck is so funny. I swear to god. Dude, I swear to god, this deck is so funny. Because somehow the setup to get Tatsugiri to attack turn 1 with Cinnabar Lure is so consistent. But the Pokemon you're getting from it is like not consistent at all. So it's kind of like reinforced gambling, if that makes sense. It feels like I'm pulling on a slot machine and I'm getting like at least 1/7. That's what it feels like. I always get at least 1/7, but where the other 2 7s are, I have no idea. But I think I'll, since there's a lot of people that weren't here at the start of stream where I explained the deck, I'll go ahead and explain kind of the idea of the combo once more, just so that it's at least a little more clear. Let me just grab the pieces. Yeah, okay. There we go. Okay, so Tatsugiri has the attack Cinnabar Lure for 3 energy, like crazy. Fire, Water, and Dark. We get to look at the top 10 cards of our deck and put any number of Pokemon down. So it doesn't say basic Pokemon. We can cheat Pokemon in play with this attack. Very cool. It's 3 energy though. But with Double Dragon Energy gives a Dragon Pokemon it's attached to 2 Rainbow Energies. It gives every type of energy, but only 2 at a time. It's really, really powerful card. So this can fulfill 2 of the 3 costs of Cinnabar Lure, whereas Sparkling Crystal will fill in for the last of the 3. Because Sparkling Crystal says when it's attached to a Terra Pokemon, every attack it uses is 1 energy less, and the energy can be of any type for the reduction. So if we have these 2 cards, we can immediately swing on turn 1 with Cinnabar Lure, and we can find them easily with Guzma Hala, because it's a supporter that reads, search your deck for a stadium. Yeah, it's a proxy, I know. Who cares? Search your deck for a stadium, reveal it, and put it into your hand. But when you play this card, you may discard 2 other cards from your hand. And if you do, you may also search for a tool and a special energy in the same way. So if we play this and discard 2 other cards, we get to search our deck for a tool, a special energy, and then also a stadium to go with it. And since it's a tag team card, Tag Call is an item that searches for up to 2 tag team cards. So we have 4 Tag Call and 4 Guzma Hala to get the highest odds of actually getting this entire combo turn 1. And then there's a lot of disruptive stage 2 Pokemon in here that just help set up a more control-based lock for the opponent, because that's probably the best thing you can be doing with Tatsugiri. Because it's a 2-pricer with not a lot of HP. So you're always going to be like on the back foot, but that's kind of what Control wants sometimes. So, oh, not just a deck, but playing against an invisible opponent and actually being able to imagine their turns and board states. You can barely play around certain cards in your opponent's deck. Yeah, I see what you mean. And of course, I won't be 100% accurate in any of my claims whatsoever, but having played as much expanded as I have, with the meta being not that much changing over the past, I want to say, 4 years, I've seen a lot of expanded games play out, and you can kind of estimate what the average speed is of the deck. And I'm just, of course, law of averages. That can go faster, that can break, but that's kind of the main takeaway that I want to get from this. I want to show off the concept of the deck in a somewhat realistic match. Most of the time. That's kind of the idea of like the tabletop testing here. Because doing it on TCG Live is not possible because they don't have full expanded. And every other website that I want to use, like Twin Leaf or PvP Tabletop, it requires another player to play with me to be like in the same room as me, or I need to set a date, or like I need to have an actual opponent across from me, not just a random one from the internet that's also queuing up. There's no queue. That's like the idea behind it. But there was when the rotation announcement was there a few days ago from TCG Live, they also said that they are working on getting expanded up and running later in this year. Now that may still mean that we're waiting 11.5 months for expanded on TCG Live. And I do like the charm that cards have. But when TCG Live has all expanded cards, I'm probably going to be shifting to there, let's be honest. Because this is fun and all, But having to print these proxies is so annoying sometimes. And for this deck specifically, I think I own like over half of the cards. This is a mulligan, by the way. There's not a lot of basics in this deck. More specifically, this deck, I think I own like 40 of the cards. Like 35 to 40 of the cards. But it still means I gotta print like 20 to 25 cards. And then cut them out properly, put them in the sleeve, find enough basic energy to shuffle to get them out of there. If I want to tweak the deck, I have to print more proxies, probably, if it's not already in my collection. So that's kind of the downside of doing this. It takes a lot of prep time. Whereas in TCG Live, if I make the limitless deck page, I can just copy paste that into TCG Live and it makes it automatically for me. The tag team tag is basically the same as more random tags as Future and Ancient, right? Oh yeah, absolutely. As in a thematic group of cards with synergy between them. Yeah. So I think the Tag Call is like the only card that actually mentions specifically tag team cards, other than maybe Mewtwo and Mew GX tag team. But technically, the tag team Pokemon are GX Pokemon. They're basic GX Pokemon that are 3 prizes. This is the first time that 3 prizes were ever printed. It was back in the Sun and Moon era. So that's what tag team Pokemon are in general. And then they also printed some tag team supporters which are just like 2 random, maybe not 2 random, but like 2 characters from the Pokemon universe slapped onto 1 card. And all the cards were also along the lines of, do this effect, you may discard another card, or do this extra thing for an additional effect on these cards. So that was kind of the thematic / synergy behind them, specifically. That was kind of the idea. And I think Mewtwo and Mew GX's ability was that you could use attacks from... Oh no, it doesn't mention tag team cards, because tag team Pokemon are also GX Pokemon. And they just mentioned GX Pokemon. So that's... yeah, that's nonsensical. I think Tag Call is truly the only card that actually synergizes specifically with other tag team cards. Yeah, we do open Tatsugiri, and we have the combo because we have Tag Call. The thing is, though, if we price Sparkling Crystal, it's a little sus. It's gonna be a turn 2 if we price Sparkling Crystal, so that we just hope for the 90% that it doesn't get priced, of course. That's kind of like the downside for this combo. There we go. Okay, let's flip over to Tatsugiri and draw for turn on our turn 2 going second, and play the Tag Call to search our deck for up to 2 tag team cards. Okay, so let's see. We didn't price the reversal, that is nice. We didn't price the Sparkling Crystal, it's also really nice. I'm just gonna move cards to the front of my hand that I really like. Or not that I really like, that I am planning on grabbing. I want to see what the rest of my hand looks like. Is there much that I want to discard here? I can discard Muk and Gloom, that's fine, yeah. There's no need for me to grab 2 Guzma Hala here. Let's see if I can find the stadiums. Yeah, okay. Path to the Peak. Okay, I do have second, Cynthia Caitlin, that is nice. I think there's only 1 path. I do run 2, but I think I've only seen 1 path to the Peak. So let me just double check that in a second. Play the Tag Call to get a Guzma Hala and a Cynthia Caitlin. And then play the Guzma Hala, discarding Muk and Gloom to search our deck for a Stadium and a Tool and a Special Energy. We have them here already. Bop, but I'll look to see if the other Path to the Peak is in deck. See Gladion and Peonia there, that is really good. Stealthy Hood is not priced, that's great. I should probably check my Lusamine count, that's also 2, that's very nice. I just want to check if Team Flare Grunt is priced or Plumeria. Team Flare Grunt's not priced, but I think Plumeria, or was Plumeria on my hand? I don't remember. Plumeria is not in deck, that's maybe relevant. Wow. Sparkling Crystal is really reflective at this specific angle, that's really cool. I do like the pinkness of the A-Spec cards. The A-Spec cards, when they were printed in black and white, were so like silvery gray. I really didn't like them at all. This pink, hot pink reskin that they got is so much cooler, in my opinion. So much cooler. There we go. These all go to discards. This goes to hands. Play the Path to the Peak. Attach the Sparkling Crystal and the Double Dragon Energy to Tatsugiri. And oh yeah, I do have Plumeria in hands. Okay, cool. And I'll play the Trainers Mail to see if we can fin a little bit more. Let's see, we only have one option here. It's Lusamine. That's fine though. Like, Lusamine's not a bad find here. Lusamine is practically like the control staple here, because Lusamine is a supporter that allows us to put up to 2 supporters or stadiums in any combination back into our hand from discard. But Lusamine doesn't have the text that it can't target herself, so we can choose Lusamine to recover 2 cards from discard, which can be Lusamine and then like another supporter or stadium. So if we have 2 Lusamine and one of them is in a discard, we can always recover it with another Lusamine and get other cards back as well. So we practically have infinite supporters throughout the entire game, and also technically infinite stadiums. And that's why the Lusamine loop, or Loopsamine as some people call it. I really like Loopsamine though. It's so powerful. It's incredibly powerful. Yeah. Cool. Let's go for the Cinnabar Lure. See if we, let's go gambling! Aw, dang it. Aw, dang it. Yay! I can't stop winning! I can't stop winning! Holy shit! Okay, that's a little overkill, second Magnezone. That's an aw dang it. Aw dang it. Aw dang it. Aw dang it. Come on, give me one big hitter. Give me like Gallade or something. That's not Gallade. You're a fraud. Tatsugiri, you're a fraud. You give me like 2 good ones in a row and then you give me nothing at all. You're a fraud, Tatsugiri. That's what you are. You're a fraud, Tatsugiri. Holy moly. It's really... Tatsugiri is actually kind of fraudulent though. Like, he has to have some insider info at Game Freak. Spoilers for Legends CA DLC. So do la 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 for 10 seconds, please. Bro got a fucking Mega in Legends CA DLC. He's a Gen 9 Pokemon. How the fuck did he do that? Bro's got to be like an inside spy in the Nintendo market. There's no other way, simply. There's simply no other way. Okay. Okay, so we got these 2 off of the Cinnabar Lure. Let's assume our opponent doesn't have everything yet. We've always assumed that Tatsugiri dies after this exchange, but let's assume that we have one more turn with it. For this specific instance. So at that point we probably want to disrupt some energy, so let's play Plumeria to discard 2 cards from our... Actually... yeah, Plumeria is probably safer. And then with Plumeria we can discard Lusamine and Guzma to discard one of their energies from one of their opponent's Pokemon. And then the second supporter, because we have Dual Brains Magnezone in play, we can play 2 supporters. We can play Cynthia and Caitlin to discard 1 card from our hands. Let's say we discard Faba to recover a supporter, Lusamine, and then also draw 3 cards. Like we said earlier, this tag team cards also do this effect. If you do this extra effect as well. So this one says that we recover a supporter from discard to hand, with a supporter that's not Cynthia and Caitlin. But then also if we discard another card while playing it, we draw 3 extra cards. That's kind of the idea of that card specifically. That's why we also have 2 Cynthia and Caitlin in deck, because we have 4 Tag Call specifically. You love it when the streamer I watch has the same vocal stills as I do. Is this a call out? This is probably a call out. Honestly, I don't give a shit. Do you guys want to go gambling again? Let's go gambling. We're gonna flip 10 cards over again for the Cinnabar Lure. Do I want that in play? I don't think so. I have no double dragons in hand, right, at this moment, and also no Guzma Hala in hand, so I probably don't want that, but if I... I run 3 Tatsugiri EX in this deck, by the way. How the fuck are the first 2 the other 2? That is so silly. This game is out to get me, I swear to God. Orbeetle is good. Orbeetle is solid. Holy fuck, bro. Dusknoir's nice, but doesn't really synergize well with Orbeetle. Okay, let me think. Let me think. If we have Orbeetle, we don't really need the Tatsu here. I have Reversal in hand, right? Yeah, I do have Reversal in hand, so I'm not gonna bench the Dusknoir because I will turn off the Reversal energy. I'm only gonna bench the Orbeetle. Yeah, I think that's the plan. It's a bit of a call out, but at least it's one for the both of us. True, so true. Ouch. Okay, so the reason I run 4 copies of Orbeetle in this deck is because Orbeetle is somewhat of, let's say, a Tatsugiri backup. If Tatsugiri slacks a little bit, he's a little bit of a Slacksugiri, then our friend Orbeetle here can pick up some slack for us. What's a theoretical matchup? I'm assuming for this one it's Lugia V-Star, but at this point I'm just going for like anything. It doesn't really matter. It can be SRC, it can be Lugia. I don't really know at this point, man. But hello, welcome in Barrett, man. Let's say the theoretical matchup at this point is Lugia. So they haven't V-starred yet, unless they have their Stealthy Hood. Actually, Stealthy Hood doesn't work for that. They haven't V-starred yet because they have Path to the Peak in play. But we're at turn 2 now, so that's 2 double turbos, or they have attached 2 double colorless, like at this point. I did play 1 Plumeria. But it's now their turn 3. Yeah, they went first. It's their turn 3. I discarded 1 of their DCEs, but they probably can manually attach 2 of them. So I think at this point, Tatsugiri does go down. Unfortunately. So we go down to 4 prizes. But we push Orbeetle. That's fine. That's completely fine for now. Did my music just stop? Or is it just a quieter song now? Let me just check. No, my music did not stop. Okay, cool. It's just a quieter song. Epic. Okay. We push Orbeetle. Did I draw a card for turn? Yes. This was not in my hand last turn. Let's attach that reversal energy to Orbeetle, and then I'll explain what we'll do at the end of the turn with that. For now, I don't really want to revenge Magnezone, so N is not really a good play here. Teammates is really good here, actually. It's actually technically made for this situation. So Teammates is a card that I can only play if one of my Pokemon got knocked out during my opponent's last turn, which was the case. And we get to search our deck for up to 2 cards and put them into our hand. That's really nice. There is a Lusamine in my hand, right? There is a Lusamine in my hand, yeah. So I think it's fine if we grab another Lusamine as one of the cards to grab here. And I want to grab Float Stone. I think I want to grab Float Stone and maybe not Lusamine. I kind of want to peep the prizes, if I'm going to be honest. So let's not grab Lusamine, let's grab Gladion and Float Stone. I think those are... Of course, we don't have to reveal these cards to our opponents, because we can search the deck for any 2 cards. But I'm revealing it to the viewer here. Just for clarity. There we go. Teammates, the GOAT. Alright, so let's... As our second supporter for this turn, let's play Gladion. So we get to take a look at our prizes, and we get to swap Gladion with one of our remaining prize cards. Let's see. So there's 2 double dragon energies. These are useless for now. We can't play any items, so Trainers Mails are also useless. Tag Call is useless now. And I guess the second Path to the Peak is pretty nice. The rest of the prize cards are like not useful in the slightest for the rest of the game. So we're not going to play Peonia or anything. This pricing is actually pretty nice. The 2 double dragons is a little bit sketchy for like turn 1, but I didn't know at turn 1 that they were priced, so... Hey, yay me, I guess. I guess if they swing into Tatsugiri, they discard the stadium, by the way. I forgot to do that. But we can replay it now, because we found it off Gladion. Yay! Yay me! Youpie! Okay, yeah, Float Stone. this is going to the Vileplume, because Vileplume is so important in the Lugia matchup. We can't play the Trainers Mail, of course. We have played 2 supporters, so let's go for Evomancy. For each energy attached to this Pokemon, search your deck for a Stage 2 Pokemon, except Orbeetle, and put it onto your bench. And since we have a Reversal Energy on here, and we are behind on prizes, and this is not a Rule Box Pokemon, but an Evolution Pokemon, we get to search our deck for 3 Stage 2 Pokemon. We definitely want Stoutland. And I definitely want Gallade. Don't quite know what the third one is that I want. Maybe Dusknoir. It can be Dusknoir, or it can be the Disgusting Pollen Vileplume. It's either of the two. Let me just go that over. I definitely want Stoutland, and I definitely want Gallade. Those are givens. So Dusknoir. Oh yeah, I want Dusknoir. This is the Lugia matchup. We want to turn off the special energies. Imagine if TCG Live Expanded was ranked and had its own exclusive battle pass with good expanded related rewards. That would be so cool. Unfortunately, that is not the case. Yo, imagine if you could do expanded beta friend battles. Can't be us, because we can't. Holy fuck, why can we not challenge our friends to an expanded battle on TCG Live? That is crazy. Like, that is beyond me. Anyway, to explain the new cards that entered the board, Dusknoir says that all special energy attached to Pokemon provides only 1 colorless energy and have no other effect. Gallade has an ability that allows us to search our deck for a supporter once per turn. Really nice. And Stoutland has the ability Sentinel, which says as long as this Pokemon is in the active spot, your opponent can't play any supporter cards from their hand. So, at this stage, they are likely going to KO the Orbeetle. They can technically Gust for something, but it's really hard to predict if they have that. And at this point, we push the Stoutland and hope that our opponent can never attack in the game anymore. Alright, let's draw for turn. Let's first and foremost, I get to finally use my ability mark, because this is the first time Gallade has actually hit the board. We get to use Gallade to search our deck for a card. Yay! Supporter card, that is. I think I used Faba earlier in the game, right? Or I discarded Faba, I think. Yeah, I did. So, I have Lusamine in hand, if I recall correctly. I do have Lusamine in hand. So we don't really need to grab an Energy Disruption supporter, because we can Lusamine into something else. So let's grab something for next turn. So like something like Team Rocket's Handiwork. Remember the time when we just hit the play button at the same time in expanded beta mode, and we queued against each other like 4 times in a row? That was really funny, yeah. I really enjoyed that. You need homemade ice cream beer back. Yeah. You can't claim Daily Dynanuggy by typing ! Daily Dynanuggy. You would have to go into Twitch's channel redemption. There should be a tab that's like a number next to it. Like below the chat box, as a gray little icon with a number next to it, and then you can redeem. There you go. There's the Daily Dynanuggy. Hell yeah! Oh, you also claimed the spicy Dynanuggy. Sorry, you were the first today to claim that actually. Yeah, you were first. So you got spicy and Daily Dynanuggy. Let's go, slay! All right. So yeah, I use Gallade. Let's play Lusamine. Let's grab back. Oh, Teammates is also really nice. But ideally, we need Faba here. And we need Guzma here. Those are like the 2 most relevant ones. And then there's one Cynthia's in discard, right? Yeah, there is. Okay. And then we play 1 Faba to Lost Zone one of their special energies. Go. And that's our turn. So let's pass the turn over. They can't attack because they got their energy Lost Zone. We draw another card. Let's use Buddy Catch again to search our deck for a supporter. If we get to this stage of the game is practically over for our opponents. Because we can do a lot of things that are just absolutely disgusting starting from here. Let's search our deck for Team Grunt as the supporter for now. Yeah, that seems fine. and then we can play this, because the active Lugia had like 2 or 3 energy attached, maybe 4. We just lost on one of that. Now we're going to discard another one of them. So he's at 2. Also, I have had item lock since like turn 2 for them. So, do they have Archeops in play is the question. I have no idea at this point. Would Astro's Mischief be good in here? I don't know much about Expanded. I would say no. And that's not necessarily because I think it's a solid card in Standard, because a lot of decks use attacking EXs. The thing is, it only works against the attacks of Pokemon EX. And I want to say a lot of the meta share of the game is attacking Pokemon V. V-Star, VMAX. Like, I want to say the 5 best decks. Among the 5 best decks, 3 of them attack with a V-Star or a VMAX Pokemon. And then there's like one that has attacking EXs, that's Iron Thorns EX. And one that's kind of a control deck that doesn't really have any attackers. They sometimes have EXs, sometimes not. Depends on the build they have. So it's, in general, more productive and expanded to tech for V Pokemon rather than for EX Pokemon. So I don't think Astro's Mischief is any good in expanded at this point, unfortunately. Unless the meta shifts drastically and Regidrago V-Star, Lugia V-Star, and Shadow Rider Calyrex VMAX are not top of the meta anymore, then I would reconsider if Astro's Mischief is good. But at this point, it's not. It just doesn't make sense for the rest of the meta game. Like, if you know your opponent's playing Iron Thorns EX, then yes, it's a good card. But if your opponent's playing like literally any other deck, then it's just complete garbage. Which is unfortunate, but it is what it is. It's a sad reality. Anyway, what we can do is, we just Team Flare Grunted, but we can also gust up something with Guzma, switching our opponent's active and our active, and then I can retreat with the Float Stone attached to the Vileplume, because the Float Stone is a tool that gives the Pokemon it's attached to no retreat cost. Really nice. So our opponent still can't play supporters, and I just gusted something else to the front. We did play our second supporter already, right? Yeah, that Team Flare Grunts and then Guzma. I'll just move the unplayable cards to the back of my hands real quick, because I can't play these Pokemon, and both players are item locked thanks to Vileplume, so Trainers Mail is also not going to happen. Just declutter a little, and then we'll have to pass again. Our opponent is likely not doing anything here, so we draw another card. That's kind of useless, but that's okay. Because we can, once again, use Buddy Catch to search our deck for a supporter. We probably want Lusamine here, because we don't want Peonia. We technically grab Cynthia Caitlin. Cynthia Caitlin is better here, because I do want to draw more cards from deck, actually. Yeah. There we go. Here we go. And I do notice that the proxies sometimes shift in their sleeves. So just to not reveal that there's basic energy behind there, let's just do it like this. Alright, let's play Cynthia and Caitlin. We have to discard another card from our hand, but that's fine. We have lots of discard fodder. And now we get to recover one supporter from our discard pile into our hands. Tempted to grab Lusamine here. Actually, I should grab the supporter that I want to play this turn. Team Flare Grunt. And then we also draw 3 cards because we discarded a card alongside this. 1, 2, 3. These are 3 useless cards. Cool. But at least they're thinned out of the deck. That's something. Or they're not useless cards, but they're useless for this state of the game, I want to say. These are like the only 3 cards that actually do something. And then let's play that Team Flare Grunt to once again discard the energy to attach to their active. But it's giving you the ability to play a second supporter. It's this Magnezone with the ability Dual Brains. During your turn, you may play 2 supporter cards. Good question, though. Very simple answer, luckily. This is why we put the Magnezone down. The Magnezone enables everything for control players. It's so goddamn good. 2 supporters during a turn is absolutely absurd for control. And Magnezone just being able to do that is absolutely incredible. Really good card. Unfortunately, it's a stage 2, so it's really hard to get in play. But with Tatsugiri EX, it's not anymore suddenly. You can just cheat it on the bench. Really cool. Anyway, we played 2 supporters, so we're gonna end our turn again and draw cards. Speaking of Magnezone, let's use Buddy Catch to search our deck for supporter cards. So we don't have a lot of hits anymore, I think, at this point. Yeah, we don't really have a lot of hits anymore. We definitely want Lusamine out of this. You're back, no ice cream. I'm so sad for you. Holy shit. That's so sad to hear. No! No ice creamer. Rip. Alright. So we search our deck for Lusamine. At this point we will have to play Lusamine. We can start the Lusamine. Let's go. Hell yeah. So we play Lusamine to recover 2 in any combination of Pokemon supporter, or sorry, up to 2 in any combination of supporter and stadium cards. So we recover Lusamine and the supporter, the other supporter that we want to play this turn. Let's say Team Flare Grunt. How do you say ice cream in Dutch? Ijsje or ice scoop, one of the 2. And then for a second supporter for turn, we can play the Team Flare Grunt to discard an energy from their active. See, I'm doing this with Team Flare Grunt, but technically it would be correct here to do it with Plumeria, if I'm gonna be honest. So let's do that next turn. Let's do it with Plumeria next turn, because that's technically more correct. Let's Buddy Catch to search our deck for another supporter. Grab the Team Rocket's Handiwork from here. There we go. Deck is getting a little thin, but that's okay. We have N in hand. So we grab, we play Lusamine to recover Lusamine. And I think Plumeria was like in opening, just opening hand. Plumeria. The reason why Plumeria is technically correct here is because we don't know if our opponent is attaching their energy to active. If they are, then Team Flare Grunt is good enough, but Plumeria can discard an energy from any one of your opponent's Pokemon, but you do have to discard 2 other cards from your hand in order to play it. But that's fine, we have lots of fodder in our hand that we can play to discard. That's fine. And then we pass the turn again. And next turn, you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna do the same thing. We're gonna Buddy Catch. I think that's the only supporter in my deck that I want. Yeah. Just gonna Buddy Catch. For this, we're gonna play Lusamine to recover Plumeria and Lusamine. And then we're gonna play Plumeria to discard Orbeetle and Orbeetle. Because why not? I want to discard the two of the same. To discard an energy from any one of their Pokemon. Once again, we're gonna pass. Turn afterwards, we're gonna do exactly the same thing. You're gonna draw for turn, Buddy Catch for... there's only one supporter in deck, right? Yeah. Yeah, at this point there's no supporters left in deck anymore, but that's fine. I think you guys get the idea by now. Once this deck gets going, it's absolutely disgusting and your opponent likely has no way to play the game anymore. So we play Lusamine, get Plumeria and Lusamine. You can do this technically with any supporter, right? You can do this. The combination of Lusamine and Magnezone is just disgusting. But you can do this with not just Plumeria, but you can do it with any supporter in a discard. You can also do it with Cynthia Caitlin. Let's discard 2 Gallades with this Plumeria. There we go, and we pass the turn again. We can't Buddy Catch anymore, or we can, but there's no supporters in deck anymore. That's okay. But at this point, you know what we can do? If we find a turn where we don't have to hand disrupt, we can play N, shuffle everything back so that we don't deck out. Whilst I'm here doing fuck all, I should copy paste some actual expanded lists into live so I'm ready. I mean, this is technically not a bad list. I think this is a really good list, actually. I think this definitely has chances against stuff like Regidrago or Lugia or Iron Thorns. I would say the matchup against Shadow Rider is probably very tough, actually. The Shadow Rider matchup is abysmal, I think. And against Evocon, you're also kind of struggling. Although Evocon, I would say it's probably an equal matchup. Because you don't necessarily have to look for Vileplume, because they're going to get Vileplume in play anyway. So I get these 6, but I can then use Buddy Catch to grab my Lusamine. You already copy-pasted your list, don't worry. Cool, epic. Oops. We grab Lusamine with Gallade and play Lusamine as our second supporter for turn to recover N. And Lusamine, you guessed it. See, I think you guys can see why we call this Lusamine. It's a loop. We can infinitely play supporters. We can also recover stadiums with this shenanigans, because Lusamine, for some reason, can also recover stadiums. It's crazy. Anyway, I'm not going to continue this game state any further, because we're kind of in a loop where we can live endlessly, block our opponent from playing items and supporters, disable their special energy. Meanwhile, we can do whatever we want here. So I'm not going to continue this game state further. There's no way our opponents can win this. Unless there's a misplay from my end where I accidentally deck out myself. Lusamine! Which fuller Lusamine do I like more? I like the Ultra Beast one. I don't know why. The one where she's inside Nihilego. Maybe I'm fucked up like that, but I like that one. Or is that the Lusamine Prism Star? I'm not entirely sure. That might be a Lusamine Prism Star, which is a different card. Anyway, I don't think I'm going to do any... Yeah, we're getting pretty close to end here. So I did want to discuss some cards that you can consider cutting. Some cards that you can consider cutting. To tweak the deck to your own liking, of course. What my recommendations would be, I would say. Yeah, let me just dig a little further. Oh yeah. And some tech cards, I guess that didn't come up too much. No, Stealthy Hood came up plenty. I don't know why that's good. Yeah, grab the other path. And this is all fine and dandy. Okay, yeah. So let me just dig a little further for that last Alolan Muk as well. Just to get the full picture here. There we go. Okay. First and foremost, I want to say Path to the Peak was a very stylistic choice for me specifically, because I didn't need Temple of Sinnoh or Silent Lab, because I had ability Pokemon in my deck that already did the same things as Silent Lab or Temple of Sinnoh. You can also consider running Chaotic Swell instead of Path to the Peak. I like Path to the Peak because it blocks Regidrago V-Star's ability and Lugia V-Star's ability. But you can choose not to run Path to the Peak and do other things, like Chaotic Swell, for example, if you want. This is a suggestion for a change. I would recommend keeping at least one Path to the Peak, but if you want if you want a different second stadium, I would definitely recommend Chaotic Swell, looking into that. Or you could consider not running Alolan Muk, for example. If you want to be more consistent with your other Pokemon, you can add more copies of the other Pokemon, like a 4th Magnezone and a 4th Vileplume. 4th Magnezone and a 4th Gallade. Not run the Alolan Muk, and then play Silent Lab instead of Path to the Peak. That's an idea that you can run. Or like a second Silent Lab. Like one Path, one Silent Lab. And then not run Alolan Muk. That's another route that you could take. You can definitely consider Ninetales. I don't think it's necessary to get Ninetales, because Lusamine can recover stadiums as well. So we do run 2, but technically we can play infinite stadiums if we want to, because Lusamine can recover stadiums. So it's not necessarily a point to... I mean, Ninetales can be nice, but that also means that Lusamine has to carry less weight in that sense. It feels like a wasted bench space, because we don't run Skyfield. So we do have to be very particular for every matchup what 5 Pokemon we want on the bench. So Ninetales is an option for sure. You can consider Ninetales. Ninetales is interesting. Is the deck running well? I think, in my opinion, it was running pretty well. In my opinion. In my humble opinion, it was running pretty well. I of course ran N in this list specifically. If you want to, you can choose Iono over N specifically. I like N personally because of when I shuffle my hand back in the deck, I don't necessarily want all of the cards that I shuffle back in at the bottom, especially not when in late game. Sometimes I have cards in hand that I really like a Lusamine, for example, and I want a chance at being able to redraw them. That's why I chose for N specifically, but Iono is also a different option that you can go for with this list. Same can be said for Guzma. I like Guzma specifically because it gives me a little bit more mobility as well, but if you prefer Boss's Orders, or like Lysander, same card, definitely go for that. I just prefer Guzma, once again, because of the way I like to play the game. And then the last card you can consider cutting, there's 4 Orbeetle in the deck. Orbeetle's a really good backup Pokemon, but if you want to, you can cut an Orbeetle, get like another supporter in, or an extra count of another Pokemon, like a third Stoutland, for example. You can definitely consider that. 4th Orbeetle feels really good, but I can see if you want to cut one of the Orbeetles. Or if you want to go full Gamba, you can cut all of the Orbeetles and also cut the Reversal Energy and just add other stuff. But I think Orbeetle does add an extra dimension to the deck, that you're not just reliant on hitting a very good Cinnabar lure. That if you hit Orbeetle off the Cinnabar lure, you still have a very good chance to get back into the game. If you get a so-so Cinnabar lure. So I just wanted to have mentioned that. Orbeetle's a really good card, but maybe not a 4 count. Those are my recommendations for the deck specifically. I would say you can also consider cutting Team Flare Grunt. I like Team Flare Grunt in the deck specifically because in some scenarios it is better than Plumeria. Sometimes you just are on very low hand size if you're still in like the early few turns, and if you really need to play Energy Disruption, then it's probably better to play Team Flare Grunt at that moment, if it's the opponent that you want to discard the energy from. Because your hand, like I said, your hand space might be very tight in early game. But you can definitely cut this for like another energy disruption card, like Team Skull Grunt, Team Yell Grunt, or any other disruption cards that you like Xerosic, like Hiker. Sorry, Xerosic's Machinations, I should say. Or Hiker, for example. Or what was another one we talked about? There was another one you talked about. Hooligan's Gym and Cass is an option. Or You. Those are all options that you can also consider. I honestly think You is probably not a very good card, but I think Xerosic's Machination is definitely a card that you can consider putting in a deck for. Like, for example, Team Flare Grunt or an Alolan Muk or the 4th Orbeetle. I think Xerosic's Machination is an underexplored card in this archetype for sure. Anyway, let me find my real Tatsugiri and put that on the top. There we go. Let him shine in all his glory. I think the deck honestly is really solid for what it's worth. For being a Tatsugiri deck, this guy is doing numbers. Okay, he's not doing numbers himself, but the Pokemon he's putting in play are pretty fucking disgusting. So, hey, I'm just saying that, like, this, I think this archetype has potential. Like I said, it needs more exploring, in my opinion, because it's a really fun archetype. It's honestly not that expensive to build. I think the most expensive cards from this deck are I think it's the Magnezones and the Double Dragon Energies. Oh, Magnezone is not even that expensive. It's like $3. It's not that bad. No, Magnezone is definitely not that bad. And like, yeah, Stoutland is like $4. That's fine. What are the expensive cards then? I don't understand. Oh yeah, Guzma Hala is like $5 a pop, and I only own one, so yeah. Yeah, okay. Well, but it's mostly Double Dragon Energy, because that card is like also like approximately $5 to $10 a pop. But like Gallade's not that expensive, Dusknoir isn't. Vileplume also isn't that expensive. Tatsugiri EX of all cards is like less than €1, so I think that's completely fine. A Tatsugiri in your hand always seems like a menace, even in standard. Oh yeah. Tatsugiri is, I don't know what it is, but it's such, like I said, I think it's an industry plant, this guy. Because the baby Tatsugiri also sees like regular play in standards, but like he always fails for me. I think it's a fraud. But hey, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, alright? You'd rather build this on TCG Live. You'd rather build this on TCG Live than IRL. That's fair. I do think this deck is like less expensive than stuff like Lugia V-Star or Regidrago V-Star. Or Iron Thorns. If you want to build Iron Thorns optimally, you would have to have at least one copy of Tropical Beach, which is not very cheap. I think Tropical Beach goes for like, what is it, $150 at this point in time? Something like that, maybe like half that. Maybe like around the $80 mark, but that's still expensive. Really expensive. I guess Shadow Rider Calyrex is not that expensive. That deck is, like, I think the most expensive card of that deck is probably like the Wobbuffet from Phantom Forces, but it's between 100 to 5. Yeah, maybe. Like I've recently looked at Tropical Beach prices, and I think I saw one in like somewhat poor condition for 50. So that's crazy. But I don't think Shadow Rider Calyrex is that expensive in real life. And honestly, if I would have to drop all the money to get the rest of the cards from this, I think I would have to spend like 20 euros, something like that. It's not that bad. Definitely not that bad at all. Without, of course, including any shipping costs. Anyway, I've been rambling on for way too long. Let me turn off the music because I'm going to be ending stream here. I will be ending stream on the YouTube side, at least. On the Twitch side, we're of course going to take a look at if we want to rate someone. So for free, you got the LBD for SRC. What does LBD stand for? Is this an acronym that I'm supposed to know? Is this an acronym that I'm supposed to know? Oh, League Battle Deck. Okay, gotcha. Okay, that's valid. I understand why I didn't get that, but that's okay. Okay, if you're interested in joining POKÉ-COMMANDER, for example, please feel free to join the Discord. POKÉ-COMMANDER is really fun, and we play a match every weekend. We're also planning on playing a match this weekend. It's likely going to be on Saturday. Don't hang me up on that. I will do an official announcement about that tomorrow on the Discord. You still haven't opened it either. That's crazy. Okay. Okay, buddy. Okay, buddy. Anyway, if you want to join us on the raid on the Twitch side, I would really appreciate that. So please consider copying one of these two messages. Oh, actually, hold on. The YouTube side did not see the Discord link for the POKÉ-COMMANDER server. There you go. There you guys go. Now you do. Yeah, so with that, having said that, thanks everyone so much for watching, and I'll see you guys another time, likely Saturday this week. Bye-bye!